Hey, what's up guys, it's your boy KCM What Ifs. Today we are gonna be reading the Sharingan Devil, or what if Naruto had the Sharingan and was a captain of the ANBU. So sit back, relax and enjoy. Hashirama had an extremely remorseful look in his eyes as Naruto finished his story. The young boy had not left anything or twisted facts in his favor. He had clearly stated that once upon a time he had been a loyal soldier who had defended Konoha to the best of his abilities, and on losing faith turned into the one who destroyed it. He had told the Senju of his victories, defeats, losses, regrets, and future vision for the world which he created today. In Naruto, Hashirama could see reflections of Madara and himself. And deep down, whether he wanted to admit it or not, nobody could deny the fact that Kaiser Naruto Uchiha was only born due to the faults of the ninja world and its creators. All of them had themselves to blame for their mistakes, Naruto for his and Hashirama for his own. The Hokage's mistakes cost him his dream village and world over the years, despite the warning given by Madara before his death. While Naruto's mistakes cost him the lives of many loved ones, his childhood made him commit the sin of murdering his comrades, friends, superiors and thousands of other people. In the end, we're simply monsters with different uniforms and visions," said Naruto honestly, a bittersweet smile visible on his handsome face. "And the people of our era and worlds consider us heroes," replied Hashirama bitterly, shaking his head sadly. "One man's hero is another one's villain. Don't be sad, Hashirama. That's just the way history works. You won't be the only one who will be hated for certain decisions you made during your life. Future generations may also curse or criticize me for the decisions I've made or will make from this point on. Being a leader isn't just about ability, but it's about taking responsibility. It's not just about making the good, perfect decisions but also about making the shitty ones that can make or break everything we've built," explained Naruto calmly, earning a small smile from the Senju. "You're far wiser than I was at your age. Your ancestors would be proud of you, Naruto," congratulated Hashirama. "On the contrary, if the people whom I serve right now are satisfied with my work, then my life won't be meaningless. Everything that has happened till now would be worth it if I could save this world from the Armageddon it faces right now," said Naruto seriously. "Your intentions may be good, but it never changes the truth that you murdered Hiruzen, destroyed my village, my nation, slaughtered many of my people. What do you have to say for these crimes of yours?" asked Hashirama flatly, as Naruto got up on his feet on seeing the vines holding Tobirama loosening little by little. Looking into the dead serious eyes of the Shodaime Hokage made him understand the conflict the man was in. Smiling, he stood firm and stared straight into Hashirama's eyes. "My consciousness is free," answered Naruto honestly, making Hashirama sigh sadly. Kurama was left speechless when Hashirama got back on his feet and gave a crisp, respectful salute to Naruto. The Kaiser closed his eyes but gave an acknowledging nod regardless. "Your Majesty, Kaiser Naruto, please believe I have great admiration for your talents and greatness. And if I were to have another grandson, I would like to have someone like you. But I can't be your subordinate or accept this world of yours," said Hashirama honestly. Naruto didn't say a word, even as Tobirama was freed. "Tobirama and I feel sorry and apologize for the pain our decisions might have caused you, but we can never side with you. It may be his business in saying his opinion, but I can guarantee he will agree with what I just said. That is to say, if I'm allowed to say important sounding things, then it will be the truth that I built the ninja world on the philosophy of making friends on equal terms, regardless of pasts, clan, and not on creating master-servant relationships." The wild winds flowing across the area slowed down. "I want to have good friends, and I want to be a good friend to other people. But I don't want to be a good master or to be a good servant. The same goes for Tobirama and perhaps the ninjas who still oppose you. This is why we will never be able to uphold the same flag as you, although I appreciate your kindness towards me. I doubt you have any need for old men like me and my brother," said Hashirama respectfully, with a small smile. The Hokage twisted his fingers as a giant wooden replica of a ninja was slowly formed. It was one of the largest statues the Kaiser had ever seen, with its vast figure towering over the entire Reich capital. A tribute to the shinobi world. Time stopped as the Kaiser spared a nostalgic glance towards the historical monument that would always remind him and everyone as to where all of them came from. And what was the past world that made them who they were today, and who they would be in the future. The young Kaiser sighed on seeing the two Senju brothers taking battle positions, and Orochimaru slowly sneaking up behind them to participate in the battle. "Naruto, what will you do?" asked Kurama hesitantly. "Their intentions are clear. They were the founders of the shinobi world, as such they're throwing down the gauntlet themselves. This is Hashirama's attempt to immortalize the spirit of ninjas in a positive light by fighting this one last battle," explained Naruto, clearly touched by the old Senju's resolve. "A man who truly maintains his mettle despite old age and life full of pain deserves admiration," said Kurama frankly, earning a nod from his container. "This is a challenge from one of the most battle-tested warriors and respectful leaders who is stalking everything for the sake of his civilization. Hashirama was the father of shinobi, as such he is trying to protect his children till the end. As a leader myself, and in my authority as Kaiser, I cannot disregard this challenge. We shall fulfill his last wish," said Naruto seriously, determination shining in his eyes. "Victory or death, main Kaiser?" asked Kurama curiously, an eager smirk arriving on his face. "No, it's not that, but victory or a more complete victory," answered Naruto confidently, making his partner smile widely. Orochimaru grinned and the Kaiser stepped forward to face the godly Senju brothers in a battle that would determine the fate of their worlds. Tsunade and Gaara could only marvel at the sight from afar as they watched their supreme commander walking across the blood-stained battlefield with a few of his soldiers. As the sun slowly started to vanish in the midst of rising darkness, it marked not only the end of the first day of humanity's greatest war but also the end of the lives of 25,000 soldiers currently lying dead across the battlefield. They were quite astonished and left speechless when Kakashi bent down and picked up a blood-stained resistance flag. Without a word to even his own surprised escort soldiers, the Reich's supreme commander placed the flag straight in the hands of the Reikich's deceased corpse, making it stand firm and proud. "I can see from where the Kaiser got his sense of honor," said Gaara silently, getting a begrudging nod from Tsunade herself. "Giving respect to dead enemies, even when they don't deserve it. They are the traits of noble leader," said Tsunade. "Would the resistance do the same for our soldiers and officers?" asked Gaara bitterly, making Tsunade sigh. "That is the difference between them and us. A difference Kakashi and Naruto intend to keep. The Reich and the resistance have their own differences. We will even kill each other for our ideologies, but all of us bleed the same colored blood, die the same death. Life may have divided us, but death equals us all. We must strive to be human at the very end, towards each other at the very least," explained Tsunade patiently, as Gaara stared at the sky. "I wonder, what shall become of our kingdom after we play our parts?" said Gaara mysteriously, as Tsunade smiled. Gaara saw a sagely look arriving on the older Senju's face, as she pointed her finger on her head and heart in proper succession. "Our kingdom lies in our minds and our souls. That kingdom can never be surrendered or destroyed," said Tsunade devotedly, showing absolute faith in her beliefs. Gaara nodded as he carefully observed the setting sun in the sky, and his thoughts lingered over the uncertain future that awaited them all. If this Reich is the chosen kingdom of humanity, then let God do with it as he wills. Kakashi had been aimlessly staring at the endless sea of corpses. While there were no survivors left among the once strong enemy invasion force, he still wanted to make sure there were no stragglers left, while also searching the corpses for any information that might just help him in the defense the next day. Watching the frozen, unmoving faces of Darui and thousands of young men and women made him remember the Third Great Ninja War, and a saying he had heard from one war veteran long ago. "In peace, the sons bury their fathers." But in war, the fathers bury their sons," said Kakashi sadly, Supreme Commander. He was brought out of his thoughts when Niji called for him. Turning in the young boy's direction, he slowly walked towards a small group of his soldiers who had encircled a particular area of the battlefield. Even Kakashi's curiosity piqued on hearing uncertain whispers among many of his men, and on reaching the spot he understood why. Niji had a worried expression on his face even as Kakashi kneeled down to observe the several strange corpses which were making many of their own soldiers uneasy. "It's just as the Kaiser feared," thought Kakashi gravely, as right in front of him lay several thousand strange corpses. These dead bodies, while having a human figure, were neither men or women. Hell, they appeared to be zombie-like creatures in manly forms. Their entire bodies were white in color, no sign of clothes or genital organs. If one could guess correctly, they were males, but nothing was certain. There are more across the battlefield. Our soldiers found them reverting to this state. It seems they were previously taking the forms of resistance fighters, but they were really," said Niji hesitantly, not finding the right words to speak. "I see. Gather a few of these bodies as samples and send them to Sakura. I want a full autopsy in 12 hours, we need to know as much as possible about them," instructed Kakashi. "Yes, sir," replied Matsuri quickly, even as many Reich soldiers started picking up a few zombie corpses. Niji saw that Kakashi was not too surprised with this discovery, which only fueled his doubts that the man knew that something like this could happen. "You know what they are?" asked Niji seriously. "I have a wild guess. But we should not be spreading rumors at this point, we need to keep our soldiers focused," said Kakashi flatly. "I understand." They were interrupted when several birds descended from the sky carrying with them the tired forms of Shino, Suigetsu and many critically injured Reich soldiers who were sent on a previously suicidal mission of harassing the enemy camp from behind. With speed unforeseen, Kakashi ran to their side, and wordlessly started helping many injured men and women getting off the birds and laying them on stretchers. Niji and the others around him seemed stunned on seeing the Supreme Commander's uniform getting drenched in blood and dirt of the injured soldiers, but Kakashi didn't seem to care. Not wanting to leave their leader alone, all of them also started helping in transporting the injured to the medical camp. A few moments later, they were joined by Gaara and Tsunade. The Senju immediately rushed to heal the injured, while the redhead arrived beside Kakashi's side as they faced Shino and Suigetsu, who were panting harshly. "Where is Sasuke and his platoon?" asked Gaara. "They said they were taking a detour. The enemy had us pinned." Sasuke held the line with his men and said he would evacuate with his platoon from the other evacuation site. "He should have been here by now," said Shino honestly. "Maybe that fucker went crazy over the enemy," said Suigetsu light-heartedly, but found no smiles from either Kakashi or Gaara. Instead, both men looked towards each other and Shino saw Gaara giving Hatake a firm nod. "I'll prepare a platoon right away," said Gaara seriously, and ran off to make the necessary preparations. "Permission to go with Gaara, Supreme Commander. I know the terrain and Sasuke did save my life, so," requested Shino flatly. "Oi, if that's the case then I'm going too," chided Suigetsu quickly. Kakashi was about to say something, when the remaining uninjured soldiers from Shino and Suigetsu's platoons stepped forward beside their leaders, the same determination burning in their eyes. "You guys just got back here," said Kakashi seriously. "No one gets left behind," replied Shino, with a faint smile. "Besides, Sasuke is a high-ranking commander. It would be bad if we let him die, this way I at least get to tease him for saving his ass," said Suigetsu with a smirk. Gaara ran past them with a full platoon of battle-ready soldiers. The redhead stopped a few meters ahead, and gave an annoyed glare to the two officers and their soldiers. "Do I need to pass out invitations?" Kakashi smirked when Shino and Suigetsu shook their heads but joined Gaara's side regardless. As the soldiers started boarding on the birds, Gaara turned back and his eyes connected with those of the Supreme Commander. "We'll bring him back. I promise, said Gaara seriously. Kakashi nodded as one by one the birds took off in the air and started going back towards the hot zone. I know, Gaara. Sasuke remained calm even as the man who ruined his life appeared in front of him. It did surprise him that even after all these years, Itachi Uchiha appeared to be the same. His long, dark hair was neatly tied in a ponytail and just one glance at his face reminded Sasuke of his beautiful mother whom Itachi was a complete replica of. Looking back now he could easily see his older brother looked like his mother, while Sasuke himself took after Fugaku both in looks and personality. He sighed on seeing the frozen faces of his men whom his older brother just killed. The only solace Sasuke could gain was that their deaths were instantaneous. Why are you here, Itachi? Asked Sasuke seriously. You've changed, Sasuke, said Itachi. Each of them merely stared at the other, brothers who had once shared an unbreakable bond only to be set on the opposite sides. I'm surprised you didn't come after me for revenge. I'm honestly disappointed in you, little brother, taunted Itachi, receiving a faint smile in return. That's because you no longer mean anything to me, Itachi. Sasuke carefully observed that those words did manage to have an impact. The ever-calm facade of Itachi Uchiha vanished for a moment, and just for a few seconds Sasuke saw sadness in his brother's eyes, but just as quickly it had arrived it vanished just as quickly. I have another brother now, one who wouldn't kill his family for anything. I have friends, comrades, someone to go home to, people who'll remember me long after I'm gone from this world. The same cannot be said for you, said Sasuke tersely, making Itachi smile. Should I be happy? Naruto will fall soon enough. And with your death my dream of achieving true power will be accomplished. I will be the strongest Uchiha alive, boasted Itachi, and frowned when Sasuke laughed. Maybe we will die, maybe we won't. But the Uchihas will live on, we've made sure of that, answered Sasuke. The younger brother again saw his sibling losing composure. Itachi's eyes widened as he understood the implications behind those words, and seeing that happy smile on Sasuke's face just about erased any lingering doubts in his heart. That's right. You're going to be an uncle in a few months. Itachi felt as if an entire mountain was placed on his already crumbling shoulders. Staring into Sasuke's eyes, he was shocked to see a peaceful expression visible in them. You've lived a full life without regrets, Sasuke. And now, thought Itachi in surprise, this won't change anything. I will still kill you and your child, promised Itachi coldly. The ANBU captain prepared himself when Sasuke wordlessly walked towards him. The right commander had not raised his weapon, prompting Itachi to follow the same gesture. After a few more steps Sasuke was right in front of his older brother. Slap. Itachi fell to the ground courtesy of a tight slap being implanted on his cheek. What surprised him more was his lack of resolve to even block that hit, only because of the disappointed look in Sasuke's eyes. Enough, Itachi. Stop lying and performing your miserable acting, scolded Sasuke. What are dash? I want the truth, demanded Sasuke. You already know why, replied Itachi flatly, making Sasuke grit his teeth. I want to hear the real truth from your mouth, even when I already know about the coup. Time stopped for Itachi as he heard those words, and one look in Sasuke's sad eyes made him realize his brother already knew about his ugly life, and why he did what he did. The only question left was how did Sasuke know, even when I ransacked Naruto's mind when he was in a coma. I always knew he was hiding something from me, and through my Sharingan I accessed his memories while he was asleep. While it was dishonorable, Naruto was stealing my right to know, so I had no choice. I know about the root coup, Uchiha coup. What you were, I know everything, said Sasuke sadly. Sasuke saw his brother closing his eyes and taking a deep breath. A few moments later, the fake expressions disappeared from Itachi's eyes as he looked straight at him. If that's the case, then there's no use denying it. It's true, confessed Itachi, as Sasuke closed his eyes while clenching his fists. I didn't want to believe it back then, and now," said Sasuke bitterly, a painful look visible in his eyes. Itachi remained silent, his head facing towards the ground, unable to meet his younger brother's eyes. He could face the strongest warriors of the world, but didn't have the courage to witness the unending pain that was visible in Sasuke's eyes and heart. The silence helped him in picking up the sounds of incoming resistance fighters, and after what Sasuke did to them, Itachi knew what would happen if they caught the right commander right now. "We need to leave." Sasuke looked in the direction from where he also heard angry voices, and sensed several chakra signatures rapidly approaching towards him. Itachi got back on his feet, and wordlessly both brothers started running together. Neither of them said a word or showed any hostile intentions, as each of them was busy dealing with their volatile emotions. Half an hour later, they had managed to shake off their pursuers and were now standing in front of a vast lake. There were several trees nearby, and the setting sun in the sky provided a beautiful image to their troubled souls. While Sasuke was staring at the sky, Itachi was busy observing the changed man that was his younger brother. "Father and mother would have been proud of you, Sasuke," said Itachi compassionately. The right commander closed his eyes in a last effort to hide the tears swelling up in his eyes, as he felt a strong fist encircling around his heart on remembering his deceased parents and a happy family he had once been a part of. "They were proud of you too, Nisan." Itachi choked back a sob on hearing that word after so many years, and what broke his heart was the fact that Sasuke said it without any hatred or sarcasm behind it. "What do you want to do?" asked Itachi quietly. He carefully observed as Sasuke unsheathed his sword, and stared at it for a few moments. Taking a deep breath, Itachi prepared himself for battle, only to be shocked when Sasuke stabbed the sword in the ground. "Get out of here, Itachi," said Sasuke bitterly, and saw the shock clearly visible on his brother's face. "What? I can never forgive you for what you did. But I understand why you did it, however there's no gain in killing each other," admitted Sasuke. "I don't want your pity," replied Itachi flatly, and flinched on receiving a sharp glare in return. "You don't deserve it either. Konoha and Danzo may have manipulated you, but in the end it was still your decision to kill our entire clan. It was your sword that killed my mother and father. Every one of us makes choices, you made yours. And right now I'm making mine," said Sasuke seriously. "Letting me go is your choice?" asked Itachi in disbelief. "Killing you would be showing mercy, and it's exactly what you want, isn't it? I won't give you that because I want you to repent for your crimes by living with your guilt for the rest of your life. If I kill you, it would only make the sacrifice of our parents meaningless. You may have placed the village over them, I can't," said Sasuke furiously. "It seems Naruto's attitude is rubbing off on you," taunted Itachi, with a faint smile. He couldn't say it out loud, but he felt immensely proud of the man standing in front of him. Sasuke grunted even as a smile of his own arrived on his lips. "That bastard. He's a pain in the ass most of the time, but is also someone for whom I wouldn't mind dying. If not for him, I would have turned out to be a useless avenger. Maybe I would have wasted my entire life running after you, even sacrificed my life in killing you. But he didn't let me go down that dark path," said Sasuke proudly. "He has a strange sense of honor, and I've never seen anyone like him," admitted Itachi. "Naruto is the light that illuminated my dark life. He filled the hole which you created. With him, I built this Reich and used my powers for development instead of destruction. It was a bumpy ride, but I wouldn't trade any of it for the world," said Sasuke happily. "It's been a good ride for us all," replied Itachi, receiving a rare full smile from his younger brother. "The best." In that moment the brothers felt themselves being transported back to a time where their world was still normal, where they had a family to come home to, where they always had each other no matter what. Itachi hesitantly took a step forward, and Sasuke repeated the action, albeit a little less slowly. Their eyes teared up as they neared each other, and before they knew it they had their arms wrapped around each other. "I missed you, Sasuke," said Itachi sadly. a lone tear falling from his eye. "Did you ever love me, Itachi? Or was all of those moments just fake?" asked Sasuke hesitantly. "I've always loved you, little brother." "Then, please stop right now. We've already lost too much in our lives, don't be a blind patriot till the end. Why the hell are you even supporting the resistance right now? It was these ninja villages that killed our clan, manipulated you to do their dirty jobs. They must pay for their crimes," argued Sasuke passionately. Itachi gently broke the hug and placed a hand over his young brother's shoulder. "I know they are wrong," said Itachi honestly. "Then why?" yelled Sasuke frustratedly. "The things we do for our best friends. I couldn't protect Konoha, I failed in keeping the promise I made to my best friend. Sasuke, seeing you become such a great man fills my heart with pride. But you must understand, for me there is only one way. I have contradicted my beliefs many times, at least this way," said Itachi frankly, never finishing the last sentence. "You're still doing all of this for the sake of your best friend? And a promise made years ago?" asked Sasuke in surprise. "You and I are different yet the same in many aspects. We both made our own choices but they were heavily influenced and made for the sake of our friends. I cannot change the past, and I have no desire to live like this after what I did. At the very least, I will give it my all by destroying the Reich and the Kaiser," promised Itachi. Sasuke's gaze hardened on hearing that as he stepped away from his brother who remained impassive. "Do you really mean that?" "Yes." Itachi saw Sasuke's hands trembling as he picked up his sword. The boy's lips were trembling as he tried to muster the courage to do what needed to be done. It made the ANBU captain smile as he was reminded of a memory from years ago. "Do not fear. This is the path you have chosen," said Itachi flatly. Compared to the pain I caused you, mine would be much smaller. Our philosophies may have been different, but I am proud of you, Sasuke," complimented Itachi, repeating the words said by his father all those years ago with minute changes added. Sasuke closed his eyes in defeat on hearing those words. His hands stopped shaking, lips stopped trembling as he firmly raised his sword towards his smiling brother. "The only way I can satisfy you would be to fight you myself. If that is your wish, then I shall honor it," thought Sasuke respectfully. Itachi activated his Mangekyo Sharingan as Sasuke activated his own. The tension in the air increased as Sasuke pointed his sword at his older brother. "Live by the sword," stated Sasuke, receiving a proud smile from Itachi who raised his own weapon towards his brother and said 4 words. "Die by the sword." Naruto stepped forward, eyes set on 3 of the most powerful shinobi the world had ever seen. With the exception of Madara Uchiha, Hashimoto or the Rikudo Sennin, he doubted any warrior could match up with the combined prowess of the great Senju brothers and Orochimaru. And now he was facing all 3 of them alone in combat. Wordlessly, for shadow clones of him were created instantly. Never waiting for any verbal command from their original, the clones quickly performed an identical series of hand signs before slamming their hands on the ground. Shishiinjin, for violet flames formation. A large square-shaped barrier of purple-colored flames was formed all around the warriors, confining them to a limited area. The clones who had formed the barrier quickly knelt down and took their positions as another protective barrier covered them. This way no one would be able to disable the barrier by destroying any one of them. "It seems you've mastered one of my jutsu," said Orochimaru wickedly. He sighed when Naruto remained silent, never giving a reply to his minor taunt. "Kurama, now we can go all out," said Naruto seriously. "Is that wise, Naruto? Your true power dash." "I know. We will be careful not to overuse my powers or risk destroying the right capital and the people in it. This barrier is strong, so the damage will be confined to this area. Mostly," reassured Naruto, as the fox gave him a feral grin. "Then let's do this." Orochimaru quickly tossed 2 sharp swords to the Senju brothers, who accepted the weapons without a word. In return, Naruto did the opposite by sheathing his sword, much to Hashirama's confusion. "Pick up your sword, Kaiser," said Hashirama flatly. "It is not a weapon which can be carelessly used when thousands of innocents still reside within this city." "Don't worry, I will give this fight my all," promised Naruto. "Very well, then." Orochimaru made a hand seal, and the next second Tobirama vanished. Naruto, having sensed the danger, quickly ducked just in time for the Nidaime Hokage to appear above him. The sword missed the Kaiser's neck by just a minute. "He's fast, but," thought Naruto, as he raised his hand. The Kaiser's right arm instantly transformed into a lengthy wooden spear, which was now an inch away from stabbing Tobirama through the chest. Instead, Hashirama leaped inside the battlefield, his sword making a long slicing arc towards Naruto's chest. The Kaiser simply shifted his weight, evading the blow, and formed a wooden shield in his other hand just in time to block the hail of exploding tags Orochimaru had launched towards him. "Naruto, close quarters," warned Kurama urgently, acting on the sensible advice given by his partner. Naruto was able to capture a fierce roundhouse kick from Hashirama by stabbing the man in the foot with his spear-transformed wooden hand. Tobirama twisted quickly in the air, and aimed a powerful punch for the Kaiser's spine. What the Nidaime Hokage hadn't expected was a sudden chakra tail to abruptly emerge from his opponent's back and impale him straight through the chest. Instead of being shocked, the younger Senju simply smirked, alarming Naruto. "Shit!" cursed the Kaiser. He put great force in his jump, but even so he was not completely successful in evading an uppercut from Tobirama, who emerged from beneath his feet. The attack connected with Naruto's left portion of the chest barely, but the impact made the Kaiser cough blood. Back-flipping away, he created a certain distance between him and his enemies. Nidaime was said to be the master of genjutsu. Kurenai had praised his skills so many times, and father had warned me about his speed. Now I know why, thought Naruto frankly. The Kaiser grunted when the triad of Hashirama, Tobirama and Orochimaru ran towards him from different directions. Their speed was frightening to say the least. Together they leapt at him, initiating a series of offensive taijutsu moves. Enko, who was standing a few meters away, guarding the captured coffins holding Shin, Sai and Rei's reanimated corpses, could only nervously watch as Naruto fought a brutal hand-to-hand combat match. Slowly but surely the enemies managed to find a tiny moment where Naruto's defense was vulnerable, and struck hard. Although all it did was piss off the Kaiser even more, the blows raining down on him would have shattered even the fiercest ANBU ninjas, yet Naruto simply fought back more vigorously. For each punch taken, he pounced on his opponents with more fury. Orochimaru was the first to suffer the Kaiser's wrath when the snake received a solid kick to his groin, sending him sailing away. Tobirama was next when Naruto jabbed his right hand straight to the man's neck, creating a large hole. A roundhouse kick then sent Nidaime crashing into a nearby house. Hashirama was a completely different story than his other two comrades. While lacking the speed of Tobirama and the flexibility of Orochimaru, the Shodaime Hokage had enormous strength and endurance capacity. Naruto sent a chakra-enhanced right hook straight for Hashirama's chest, only to be effortlessly stopped as Hashirama simply grabbed that attacking arm of the Kaiser. The momentary shock cost Naruto as he received a bone-crushing kick to the chest, followed by a series of punches to his handsome face which sent him sailing away. Coughing up blood from his mouth, he had to quickly get up as Tobirama sent a single shuriken sailing towards him, followed by quick hand seals. Shuriken Kage Bunshin no Jutsu, Shuriken Shadow Clone Technique. Naruto simply encased his entire body in the chakra provided by his Biju, making the entire attack useless. His Mangekyo spinned rapidly, as he narrowed his vision on Tobirama. Amaterasu. The Nidaime performed a quick shunshin, evading the majority of the lethal black flames, but was unable to save his left arm, which was now on fire. With one enemy temporarily out of the way, Naruto quickly turned around to see several snakes flying towards him, fangs raised to bite. Sanaijishu, hidden shadow snake hands. Orochimaru's grin vanished when the Kaiser dispersed into a petal of crows. The Sannin instantly jumped, but only a moment too late, as Naruto emerged from beneath his feet and the dangerous Mangekyo spinned again as a predatory look arrived in the Kaiser's eyes. "Burn, bitch!" Hinata was surprised when Enko whistled madly on seeing her former teacher's entire chest ignited in black flames, making the Sannin scream in agony. The Kaiser copied Nidame's tactic so quickly. "I had nearly forgotten he is quite deadly with his genjutsu," thought Hinata, her tension decreasing just a little. Maybe Naruto would be all right against those three monsters. Then her ever-sharp Byakugan saw something horrible. "Naruto, watch out," warned Hinata. The Kaiser had just finished hammering a bone-crushing kick to Orochimaru's mouth, when several vines rose from the ground, enveloping them around his entire body. From the corner of his eye, he saw Hashirama squeeze his folded hands. "Banuchi, vine whip." Brutally, the vines started slamming the Kaiser on the ground like a rag doll. Repeatedly. Grunting in pain, Naruto managed to perform a single-hand seal as the vines tossed him again in the air for another brutal slam. Futon Kazakiri, wind release, wind cutter jutsu. Razor-sharp wind blades swirled rapidly, slicing apart the veils holding the Kaiser. Blood oozed from various parts of his body, staining his battle dress. He panted harshly as Tobirama emerged in front of him. Apparently, Nidame had sliced off his scorched hand and a new one had replaced the lost limb. "Damn Edo Tensei," thought Kurama bitterly. Suiton, Suidan no Jutsu, water release, water bullet technique. Mokuton, Sashiki no Jutsu, wood release, cutting technique. Naruto quickly strengthened his position on the ground as the Senju brothers launched another monstrous attack. The sky was filled with razor-sharp water bullets that were about to rain down on him, while the land was being torn apart by hundreds of sharp wooden spears. A combined attack. No warrior can escape from this, thought Naruto seriously. He thrusted his right arm forward, while his eyes focused on the water bullets falling from the sky. Channeling a massive amount of chakra from his body, he yelled fiercely. Amaterasu Danmaku, Amaterasu Barrage. Mokuton, Sashiki no Jutsu, wood release, cutting technique. A barrage of black flames were created by the Kaiser, which instantly launched to collide head-on with the water bullets raining down from the sky, while hundreds of wooden spears rose from Naruto's side, colliding head-on with Hashirama's same attack. The result was a massive explosion of dust, debris, wooden particles and mist raining down from the sky. The entire battlefield became a blind spot. "Hinata, what do you see?" asked Enko urgently. "Amazing. The Kaiser didn't take a single hit from that deadly attack, and is holding for now." "Wait, he's grinning," said Hinata confusedly. "What?" A moment later Enko grinned as she understood just what had happened that had made Naruto smile. Apparently, a veteran warrior inside the barrier had arrived at the same conclusion. "Scatter, now. He's going to use the mist against us," warned Hashirama. The Hokage heard several footsteps rapidly moving around him, and not a second later he saw several clones of Naruto leap towards him with their swords. Slam! In a sheer display of monstrous power, Hashirama punched his right hand on the ground, breaking it into several parts, sending debris flying everywhere. Unfortunately, the Naruto clones were in too close proximity and couldn't evade the sudden unexpected attack. They were all destroyed in seconds. Senju sighed in relief, until he saw bright lights in the mist. Lights approaching towards him. Shit! Mokujahiki, wood-locking wall. Forming a last-minute wooden wall was the only thing he could do. Quickly taking cover behind it, he grimaced as hundreds of powerful fireballs clashed with his defense. "This boy is strong. Izuna would have loved him," thought Hashirama kindly. Senju gasped in shock when something ran clean through his chest. Looking down, he saw a powerful beam of electricity had sliced through his wooden wall and ran clean through his chest. Off in the distance, he saw a devious pair of Mangekyo smile at him menacingly. "Chidori Iso, Chidori spear, whispered Naruto, enjoying the shock on Hashirama's face. He smiled deviously when the Hokage started to get back on his feet, the Edo Tensei already healing the damage done and aided by Hashirama's godly healing powers had only stopped the Senju for a moment. Clasping both his hands, Naruto channeled another massive amount of lightning chakra through his Chidori. Chidori Burasuto, Chidori Blast. The small electric spear piercing Hashirama's chest cackled madly, with a new surge of chakra reinforcing the attack. The hole in Hashirama's chest grew to a larger size. When Naruto yelled, the gathered electricity transformed into a small powerful ball of lightning. Hashirama glanced at Naruto and only muttered one word. Shit. Boom. The ball of lightning exploded in a nova blast, obliterating everything in half a mile radius. Naruto had to jump away in order to evade getting trapped in his own attack, but still watching Hashirama's body evaporate like that. Damn, that was fun. He smirked when Kurama finished both of their lines of thoughts in a single sentence. Did you just vaporize my brother? Naruto froze. Hesitantly glancing back, he saw a murderous Tobirama standing exactly behind him. Conscious and extremely livid. Now you feel the same pain. With those cold words, Tobirama vanished only in time for Naruto to spot an armed explosive tag with 5 strange seals on it. Gojo Kibaku Fuda, mutually multiplying explosive tags. Boom. 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 An endless series of violent explosions occurred one after another. So destructive was the attack that it made the entire right capital shake violently, and if not for the barrier formed by Naruto, more than half of the district would have been ruthlessly destroyed. The attack ended after nearly 3 minutes, leaving behind shocked humans and destroyed Earth. Tobirama narrowed his dark red-colored eyes, and frowned on seeing a spectral figure floating irregularly on the ground. Grabbing a sharp kunai in each of his fingers, he waited as the smoke slowly dispersed and there stood before him, a Susanoo. Said Tobirama in surprise. Before he could even get over his surprise, the Susanoo disappeared in a flock of crows. Years of battlefield experience kicked in as he quickly raised his hand. Kai, yelled Tobirama. The field changed again, and this time he found himself standing in the midst of a deep crater created due to his explosions. In the far-off distance, he could see Hashirama's body had started to form again, albeit much slowly. While Orochimaru was nowhere to be seen. Maybe the snake kicked the bucket, thought Tobirama hopelessly. His ever-sharp sensory powers kicked in and he twisted quickly in an acrobatic manner. Even so, he was a moment too late, as a giant chakra arrow destroyed half of his body. Turning back, he saw Naruto standing there. His body was shielded with a medium-sized Susanoo which was covered by bones and holding a large bow with the help of its hands. Its menacing dark red eyes glaring at the second Hokage. Naruto raised his hand as another giant arrow was created by his Susanoo. Tobirama tried to move, but with half of his body destroyed he was rendered immobile. You're not the only one with tricks, said Tobirama flatly. The Nidaime quickly created a shadow clone without any hand seal. Without wasting a moment, the clone clasped both of its hands together, joining index fingers. Kokwanjio no Jutsu, bringer of darkness technique. The world went dark, as if the entire light of the universe had been sucked inside a black hole. Wherever Naruto looked he could see nothing, he had lost his vision completely. Naruto, focus on your remaining senses. Use your sensory powers, advised Kurama. You know about this jutsu? Kurama asked Naruto curiously. Let's just say one of my former containers had experienced it in the past, said Kurama mysteriously. Naruto's memory traced its knowledge back to a certain redhead who had been the first container of the fox. Maybe since Kurama was inside of her, is there any way to break it? Asked Naruto politely. There is. You hit the user with powerful attacks disrupting the regular chakra flow the user is pouring to maintain this jutsu. That is the only way, answered Kurama frankly. You mean fight blindly? Precisely. What? Are you scared already? teased Kurama, as Naruto huffed. I'm the Kaiser, Fox. A few years back this may have been enough to defeat me, not today. Not after everything I've learned over the years. Said Naruto confidently. Kurama narrowed his eyes when Naruto raised the hands of his Susanoo, and a few seconds later several large projectiles started taking shape. The mere sight of them made Kurama remember the night of the Root Massacre. Yasaka no Magatama, yelled Naruto fiercely. Several powerful chakra bombs sailed away wildly in every direction in the hopes of making contact with Tobirama Senju. Naruto had his eyes closed even as he fired attack after attack in pursuit of the elusive Kage. Left, right. Behind, damn, this guy's probably as fast as dad. Cursed Naruto. Kurama never said a word, allowing Naruto to focus on the battle. The cat and mouse game going on between the Kaiser and Tobirama was going on longer than what he initially expected. If Naruto had unending power, Tobirama made up for it with speed. Even if Naruto divides his attack into smaller versions, scattering them all over the field, Tobirama simply performs a Shunshin a moment before getting hit. Analyzed Kurama silently. Kurama, I think I've found a pattern in his moves. I'll need your help with this, said Naruto. You mean your dumbass actually came up with a plan instead of firing powerful attacks aimlessly, mocked Kurama jovially, and smirked when Naruto's eyebrows twitched. Very funny, retorted Naruto, secretly thankful for the fox's support. So, what do you have in mind? Naruto quickly explained the plan to his partner as a feral grin came across the giant fox's lips. Taking a note out of a popular human game, are we? But this is the Nidaime Hokage, not some lame-ass joker, warned Kurama, as Naruto shrugged. He's still human. Besides, what have we to lose? Asked Naruto carelessly. Fine. Tobirama performed a quick Shunshin as another chakra bomb exploded a few meters behind him. He simply shook his head, disappointment evident on his face. In the end, Kaiser, you are nothing more than a brute. Typical of Uchiha to lack finesse, said Tobirama critically, hoping to frustrate his opponent. Another barrage of chakra bombs were fired by the Susanoo, signaling Tobirama again started to perform Shunshin after Shunshin, evading every attack easily. Soon enough, he knew the Kaiser's chakra reserves would run dry, and that would be the moment he would launch his fastest attack, ending the so-called emperor. But still, even if his pattern remains the same, is he really the one who defeated Sarutobi? Thought Tobirama curiously, as he finished another Shunshin and prepped his body for the next one. He was startled, and a sudden yellow-colored chakra tail emerged from the ground in front of him. From his side, he saw the usual chakra bomb approaching rapidly with only 2 seconds before impact. You plan to capture me first to make a hit. Not bad, but not enough either, thought Tobirama smartly. Before the tail could capture the Nidaime, he performed a reverse Shunshin, reaching the former position from where he had just charged. His eyes widened when another tail emerged from the ground, grasping him firmly. Shocked, he tried to look around only to come face to face with a chakra ball. Boom! The darkness disappeared as Tobirama's head exploded like a watermelon. Without wasting any second, Naruto charged. His Susanoo vanished as his right hand instantly unleashed Ryujin Jakka. Kurama gasped when Naruto stabbed the sword clean through the reforming Kage's corpse. Tobirama's head had barely started forming when his entire body froze. Zenka no Tachi, Higashi, Kyokujitsujin, longsword of the remnant flame, void. Embrace eternity, Tobirama, said Naruto sagely. Hashirama stared in horror as his brother's body started cracking. Within seconds, Tobirama crumbled to pieces on the ground. A divine light emerged from the dust of the corpse, which was quickly absorbed inside the glowing sword. You may have been more smarter than me, but sometimes a simple deception can even make the mightiest warriors fall, said Naruto sincerely. Wordlessly, he sealed Ryujin Jakka back in its sheath and turned around to stare at a numb Hashirama. Tobi. He is at peace, Hashirama. Never again shall he be used by selfish mortals like Orochimaru. For he has become one with the divine. Said Naruto kindly, "You sealed my brother, didn't you?" asked Hashirama sadly. "I gave him peace, Hokage. His spirit shall live on in this sword, he shall have eternal life even long after humanity meets its end." Confessed Naruto. "He won't be tortured, would he?" asked Hashirama worriedly, concern evident in his eyes making Naruto smile. Ryujin Jaka never discriminates. It's a spirit itself. Once a person's fight is over, there is only peace if he merges with this sword. Whatever sins committed by man are left behind in this life to begin a new experience with this entity. Honestly, I've always wondered why it chose me as its wielder. Said Naruto mysteriously, "Because your spirit is pure." Naruto blinked, taken aback by Hashirama's words. "I don't understand." Said Naruto confusedly. "Madara once told me he forcefully took this sword from a holy monastery where it was carefully treasured by monks, sages who never participated in the violent conflict of shinobis. In a way, for ages they had prevented our bloodthirsty race from getting its hands on such a monstrous power," explained Hashirama, surprising Naruto. "Uchiha Madara wanted this sword? I can't imagine someone as powerful as him ever needing this weapon," said Naruto frankly, but Hashirama shook his head. "Madara was powerful, but still a man in the end. He did manage to steal this sword but was never able to master its power, and it infuriated him. I fear if he had managed to control this sword, then the history of our world would have been different," confessed Hashirama. "Then how did this sword end up with Shin of all people? He was just another root ANBU like me," questioned Naruto. "When I created Konoha, the Uchihas became a part of the village. And when Madara left, the clan was more than willing to part away with all his belongings. In a way they were trying to distance themselves from Madara in every possible way. With no one to claim Madara's belongings, they landed directly into the village's treasury. The Uchihas never knew just what this sword was, didn't they? And you never told them too?" said Naruto crudely, making Hashirama lower his head. "No clan was fit to wield such a power. I sealed this sword in a hidden vault never to be opened again, except by another Hokage," replied Hashirama honestly. "Then your brother came along. I guess in his relentless desire to protect Konoha, he experimented with it. Tried to harness its power, but failed too. When Tobirama died, his students took over. At that time, the Third Great Ninja War started and the village again needed such a power. So I guess, Hiruzen allowed Danzo to continue to find a way, along with finding a person who could actually wield it. Until Shin came," deduced Naruto, earning a smile from Hashirama. "Your friend was noble and one who wanted peace not just for Konoha but for the entire world. He wanted happiness for his friends, and even sacrificed his life to save yours. I guess, Ryujin Jaka never wanted a wielder who wanted to conquer but one who worked for the greater good. Maybe it sees that potential in you, Naruto. Don't let it go to waste," advised Hashirama sagely. "I still don't feel myself worthy of such power. But I thank you for your advice," said Naruto gratefully, giving a small bow to his senior. "Tobirama may have made a mistake by underestimating you. I won't. Prepare yourself, Kaiser," warned Hashirama. Naruto's eyes widened when an enormous pressure descended upon the entire capital. Far away, he saw Anko and the others fall on their knees unable to stand against this new power. He grimaced when Hashirama's entire body got covered with chakra and dark lines started forming beneath his eyes. "Kurama, what the fuck is he doing?" asked Naruto urgently. "Naruto," the tree hugger went batshit crazy. Naruto silently watched as Hashirama gave a fearsome battle cry. The Hokage's power went off the roof and dark lines started forming beneath his eyes. The ground beneath their feet literally split apart, hundreds of houses collapsed instantly and the screams of several terrified people echoed across the entire Reich capital. In the midst of all this madness, the Kaiser remained unmoved. His sharp gaze fixed on another opponent who emerged from the rubble, and had apparently transformed into a gigantic snake. So this is your final form. To think you would twist your own human body like this," said Naruto distastefully. Hashirama seemed stunned as he marveled at the gigantic 8-headed snake which was almost as large as the Kyuubi. The monster loomed over the entire Reich capital as a symbol of death and destruction. Right in the center of the monster, Orochimaru had somehow merged himself into one of the slithering tongues of the middle snake and was now triumphantly glaring at the cornered Kaiser. "I brought the strongest warrior of all time, and my most powerful form. It's over, Naruto-kun," hissed Orochimaru. Both Hashirama and Orochimaru frowned when Naruto started chuckling, until it turned into a full-blown mad laughter. "Have you truly forgotten who I am?" Hashirama's eyes widened on hearing those words. Without wasting a moment he started performing a set of hand seals. But alas, it had already begun. Orochimaru had to back away quickly when an even more monstrous wave of chakra washed over the entire area, destroying anything that came in its path. A malicious killing intent as fierce as the 9 tails descended on them, and then he saw it. Naruto's entire body started getting covered by Susanoo, but it didn't just stop there as the monster started growing in size. Bigger and bigger. The Susanoo's rear formed 9 large tails, and there was something different about them. Each tail started assuming the face of a dragon and its entire body started getting covered in ice crystals. One tail-headed dragon opened its mouth showing fire burning inside, the next water, the third lightning, the fourth earth goblets, the fifth seemed to be formulating sharp blade winds judging from the constant crumbling and reforming of ice. The 6th and 7th tail-headed dragons formed an ice beam and an orb of Amaterasu black flames respectively. The 8th had small reddish-colored balls swirling in its mouth. And the 9th was made up of pure yellow-colored energy. The entire Susanoo was larger than Orochimaru's 8-headed snake form and was sporting various forms of energy that had the color of blue, yellow, red and black. It had a large ice sword in one of its hands and a gigantic wooden shield powered by the yellow-colored energy. Its demonic dark black eyes glared at its 2 opponents. And finally, it unleashed 2 massive wings from the upper half of its back. A few seconds later, the monstrous Susanoo was flying several feet high in the sky. Hinata and several terrified Reich soldiers grabbed the coffins which held the bodies of Rei, Shin and Sai. They had been scared when Hashirama and Orochimaru unleashed their power, but seeing that, Anko hesitantly turned around. Her lips trembled even as her eyes couldn't tear themselves apart from that thing in the sky. "Run," said Anko fearfully. Hashirama saw the Reich soldiers flee faster than rabbits despite the barrier which Naruto had formed to contain the damage. Even his own eyes could only marvel at the sight of this power. "It seems your descendants have surpassed you, Madara. But then again he is part Senju, the power of both clans runs through his veins," thought Hashirama gravely. Naruto remained floating in the midst of that monster, his Mangekyo Sharingan burning brighter than ever. "There are only 2 people in the world who can claim to match my power. And neither of them are here," said Naruto icily. The Kaiser's murderous gaze landed on Orochimaru and he instantly clenched his fists. Mokuton, Sashiki no Jutsu, would release, cutting technique. Hundreds of gigantic wooden spears rose from the ground rapidly piercing the 8-headed snake from all across its body. The creature and Orochimaru howled in unison as showers of blood drenched the entire area. The snake Sannin yelled in agony when his damaged body started getting frozen in ice. He desperately tried to get out of this bloody trap, but the more he struggled the more awful the pain became. "These wooden tendrils are sucking my chakra and using it to freeze me," thought Orochimaru worriedly. Terrified, he looked upwards only to see Naruto pointing 2 fingers at him. "And this is not over. I am the snake Sannin," yelled Orochimaru, his eyes promising bloody murder. "You may have once been a great warrior but now your era is over. Disappear, trash," declared Naruto icily. A gigantic black-colored ball formed in one of the ice dragon's mouth, while another had already prepared a barrage of large red-colored smaller balls. all of them aimed at the frozen form of Orochimaru. Hashirama had already anticipated this and had finished his preparations. As soon as the Kaiser raised his hand, the Senju slammed his own hand on the ground. Mokuton, Hobi no Jutsu, Wood Style, Wood Expulsion Jutsu. A large dome-like structure with a dragon's face emerged from the ground, quickly engulfing the first Hokage in its belly. Orochimaru trembled as his attempts to escape went in vain. He was completely trapped. His eyes fixed on the glowing sky, and he was mesmerized with that power. If only I could have that power. If only. Thought Orochimaru disappointedly. Fire, yelled Naruto. Yasaka no Magatama. Baijidama, tailed beast ball. Boom. 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 When Hashirama stepped out of his dome, he found himself standing in the midst of a deep crater. So drastic was the impact of the attack that nothing in an entire kilometer had survived. There was no sign of Orochimaru, as if the man and his gigantic snake form was wiped out from the face of the earth. Smaller crystal forms of ice fell from the sky, and Hashirama looked up to see Naruto still standing there with a satisfied smile on his face. The purple flame barrier which the Kaiser had formed was destroyed along with the clones maintaining it. If not for that barrier, half of the capital would have been destroyed. But even such a powerful barrier couldn't survive that attack. Thought Hashirama gravely, wordlessly. He made a few hand seals and made 4 wood clones in different directions. All of them concentrated their power and slammed their hands together. Shiskiyujin, 4 red yang formation. A gigantic square-shaped barrier which was red in color started forming around the last 2 fighters. Naruto made no move to stop its formation, and simply stared at its beauty and the power he sensed from this jutsu. It was far more powerful than the barrier he had formed. In a move which surprised Hashirama, he gave a slight bow to the older Senju. "Thank you for being gracious, Hashirama-sama," said Naruto gratefully. "There is no need for any more innocents to die in our battle. This barrier can survive any attacks we throw at each other. You can go all out, Kaiser," challenged Hashirama. "I never thought I would get the honor of fighting the strongest shinobi. I respectfully accept your challenge. Let the better fighter prevail," said Naruto respectfully. Naruto narrowed his eyes when Hashirama got a mysterious smile on his face. "You are forgetting one thing, Kaiser," reminded Hashirama. "What is it?" asked Naruto curiously. "You may have the combined powers of the Uchiha, Senju, Uzumaki and the Kyuubi inside of you. But in the end you are a man, and all men can be killed," threatened Hashirama. "And I have an endless source of chakra, but you don't." Those words managed to send a cold chill down Naruto's spine. Kurama was also tense as memories of his defeat to the Hokage all those decades ago came flooding back in his heart. History was either on the course of repeating itself again or... "Bring it on, Hashirama!" shouted Naruto. Hashirama joined his fingers, creating a hand seal which Naruto was very familiar with. Mokuton Bunshin, wood clones. Nearly 100 identical Hashirama clones popped into existence instantly, and started scattering across the entire barrier with great speed. Even for the almighty Kaiser, this was too much to process that quickly. His Mangekyo spinned rapidly in order to find out the original and put an end to this army with one single strike, and it cost him immensely. Senpo, Myojinman, Sage Art, Gates of the Great God. Naruto was alarmed when he heard Hashirama's voice from somewhere across the field of clones. The Kaiser sensed an enormous attack oncoming from. He looked up to the sky only to have his eyes widened in shock. Crack! At least 10 gigantic red gates fell from the sky, the first 2 of them directly hitting the wings which were holding Naruto's Susanoo in the sky. The damage was massive as the ice wings shattered due to the monstrous power and the Susanoo fell from the sky, crashing into the ground with a loud bang. Debris larger than several buildings flew everywhere due to the crash, eliminating some poor Hashirama clones who were too close to the crash site. Barely had the smoke cleared, and Hashirama saw that Naruto's Susanoo was just slightly damaged and was on the verge of standing back again. Pointing his right hand forward, a seal glowed on Senju's hand. "Echa!" yelled Hashirama. Naruto gasped in pain when several more monstrous gates rained from the sky, pining each and every one of his Susanoo's dragon tails. What is this? Thought Naruto in horror. He couldn't move any of his tails. Naruto, this attack was capable of stopping mine and Madara's combined power. Don't lose focus, or this man will kill you for sure. Warned Kurama. What is he? Asked Naruto painfully. He is the man who defeated Madara Uchiha and every Biju of this world. Hashirama is the strongest warrior I've ever seen, and that sage mode of his. Cursed Kurama, and saw Naruto gritting his teeth. I have not come this far to lose, said Naruto fiercely. Nearly 50 Hashirama wood clones leapt towards their immobilized opponent with the intent of tearing him apart. A ferocious snarl escaped from Naruto's lips as he pointed his glowing ice sword forward. Hirinmaru, it's time to show him our power, thought Naruto furiously. Sensatsu Sueisho, 1,000 needles of death. Every Hashirama looked up in the sky to see an endless rain of ice needles forming. So large was the attack that it blocked the moon itself, and then they rained. Naruto grinned in satisfaction when hundreds upon hundreds of ice needles rained down on his powerful enemy. The clone army that was about to attack him was brutally slaughtered. Until the last clone hissed in pain and vanished, Naruto continued his attack. Every defense the clones created was shattered due to the sheer power of the Kaiser's attack. In the end, only the real Hashirama remained, whose entire body was covered in ice needles. Alas, the wounds had already started to close up. The Senju gave a subtle nod, a gesture which the Kaiser returned with a bittersweet smile of his own. Naruto didn't know why, but despite the danger this man posed to his life, to the Reich, to everything they had built so far, Naruto felt happy. For the first time in years, there was someone who was not only strong enough to stand up against him but also push him back. Had my heart craved for such an enemy these past years, thought Naruto curiously. Regardless, he focused his power to the front, and a large ball of dark energy started forming in the Susanoo's mouth. You're truly strong, Kaiser Naruto, complimented Hashirama, in a fatherly voice. Baijidama, tailed beast ball. Hashirama saw the monstrous bomb rapidly approaching towards him, ready to evaporate every part of his reanimated body. In his defense, Senju bit his thumb, performed a quick hand seal and slammed his bleeding palm on the ground. Kuchios, Goju Rashomon, summoning, 5-layer Rashomon. 5 giant gates having various demonic faces lined up in Hashirama's defense. With great force the Baijidama collided with the defensive walls, and Hashirama quickly jumped away as Naruto's monstrous attack tore through nearly 4 of the gates. As it clashed with the 5th gate, the Baijidama was quickly deflected in the opposite direction, where it collided with the barrier, shaking the entire ground. When Hashirama turned to locate his opponent again, he was shocked to see Naruto had managed to transform his ice sword into an ice axe. And now that axe, glowing with bright blue energy, had clashed with the divine gates, pinning down Naruto's Susanoo. Crash! It took a lot of effort and destruction of 3 dragon tails, but Naruto managed to free his remaining Susanoo and made it stand back straight. So the Baijidama was a distraction. Good thinking, thought Hashirama. The Hokage prepared himself as Naruto raised his hand again, and this time all remaining 6 dragon-headed tails, and the divine sword of his Susanoo targeted Hashirama. Fire, yelled the Kaiser. Katan, Goka Makyaku, fire release, great fire annihilation. Suiton, Suidan no Jutsu, water release, water bullet technique. Futon Kazakiri, wind release, wind cutter jutsu. Doton Ishihasha, earth release, stone catapult jutsu. Raitun Rakurai no Jutsu, lightning release, thunderbolt jutsu. Amaterasu Danmaku, Amaterasu barrage. Hashirama grimaced as an army of tidal fire waves, hundreds of water bullets, invisible wind blades, gigantic stone boulders, screeching tornadoes of lightning bolts and goblets of black flames were launched at him all at once. Mokutan, Moku Johiki, wood release, wood locking wall. A semicircular wooden-shaped dome engulfed Hashirama as the combined attack made contact. The sound was deafening, even as hundreds of wooden pieces floated in the sky due to being hit by that attack. Then everything went silent. Naruto narrowed his eyes and tried to get a closer look, when something emerged from the smoke. Mokutan, Mokuryu no Jutsu, wood release, wood dragon technique. A gigantic wood dragon with demonic yellow eyes emerged from the smoke with Hashirama standing on top of it. With great speed, the creature leapt forward towards the stunned Kaiser. Naruto, defensive measures quickly, advised Kurama, sudden fear visible in his voice. Without even blinking, the Kaiser made a few hand seals, and muttered silently. Doton, Yomi Numa, swamp of the underworld. A large muddy swamp was formed instantly. Hashirama steered his wood dragon in a different direction, but Naruto had anticipated such a move and had intentionally increased the impact area of his defensive measure. As a result, the lower half of the wood dragon was unsuccessful in evading the attack and got trapped. With the monster halted, Naruto brought Hyarinmaru forward and gathered a large amount of chakra. Kakuryō Bofusetsu, Black Dragon Blizzard. 2 ice dragons of the same size as Hashirama's wood dragon were formed. Their dark red eyes glowed murderously as together they leapt at the struggling Senju warrior. Naruto panted harshly. The string of constant attacks had eaten up a significant amount of his chakra reserves. Hashirama had been right in a way. The Senju had a grave advantage in this battle. The Kaiser gritted his teeth when the powerful wood dragon literally ate off one of the ice dragon's heads, and Hashirama created a wooden hand from his beast to grab the other ice dragon by the throat. A moment later, Naruto's last dragon was shattered to little pieces. What the Hokage hadn't expected was the Kaiser to leap wildly towards him with his Susanoo, BAM. The tip of Naruto's Susanoo's wooden shield hit the wood dragon straight in its face, making it roar painfully. Without even wasting a minor second, Naruto jabbed his ice sword straight through one of the wood dragon's eyes. It screamed. The Kaiser grinned as his sword channeled chakra inside the wounded beast. Katsu. Hashirama quickly leapt away as a moment later his wood dragon completely exploded, unable to digest the demonic energy that had destroyed its head. The rest of the body didn't take long to crumble. This victory didn't come without a cost, as 3 more of Naruto's dragon-headed tails collapsed and the Kaiser was panting. Both warriors shared a fleeting glance and their hands moved in similar fashion. Mokutan Hijitsu, Jukai Koten. Wood release secret technique, birth of dense woodland. Mokutan Hijitsu, Jukai Koten. Wood release secret technique, birth of dense woodland. From both sides, the 2 warriors created hundreds of trees formulating a vast forest. In a battle that would forever be remembered for ages, the twin forests clashed with each other. Nature's energy twisted to the whims of humans, each forest resembled the hopes, dreams, struggle, and pain of their caster. Blood leaked from Naruto's mouth as he poured his strength into that attack, matching Hashirama's power with his own while maintaining his large Susanoo at the same time. The Senju was also fighting back with fierce strength, but the Kaiser was determined. Tears of blood slipped from Naruto's eyes as his body started to be pushed to its limits. All his life he had wondered why a powerful man like Madara Uchiha lost to someone like Hashirama. Now he knew why. Slowly, but surely the Susanoo was being pushed back as Naruto's own forest was slowly getting eaten by Hashirama's. The Kaiser's hands started trembling, body started shaking, little black dots started appearing in front of his eyes, but he didn't relent. For the sake of the thousands who have died for this day, I can't stop. I won't. Thought Naruto painfully. Hashirama, yelled Naruto furiously, his Mangekyo spinning. Amaterasu. The Senju's eyes widened when Naruto unleashed a tsunami of black flames. The scorching flames burned each and every tree, every plant, every leaf. In a matter of mere seconds, Where once stood two struggling forests now only remained the charred ashes of burnt trees. Both forests are now completely destroyed. Naruto's remaining Susanoo tails with dragon faces shattered, leaving only the body of the ancient power. Even that was slowly crumbling, with Naruto panting harshly. "Enough, Naruto. At this rate, you will die," advised Hashirama patiently, true concern evident in his eyes. "There is no other way for me, Hashirama. Victory or death," said Naruto tiredly. "Isn't it possible for us to coexist? Make peace with the shinobi," suggested Hashirama, his voice hopeful yet desperate. Whatever this boy had turned into today, it was directly related to the decisions made by him and his brother. More than that, Naruto was not evil. He was simply a warrior with a different vision, just like him. "Why do you care, Hashirama, if I fall? So does the Reich. It works in your favor," said Naruto, coughing more blood. For the first time, Naruto saw true sorrow in the older Senju's eyes as the man stared at him. "I couldn't save Madara, I didn't pay heed to his advice and it led the world to this point. You of all people can understand the pain of losing one's best friend. I don't want to kill you," said Hashirama honestly, and it made Naruto smile sadly. "Hashirama, it's just not possible for us to show our guts to each other," said Naruto sadly. Those words struck a deep blow to Senju's heart. His eyes teared up, an unbearable sorrow erupted in his chest as Naruto started walking towards him with his Susanoo. What made this even more painful was the gentle smile on Naruto's face, an understanding look visible in the Kaiser's eyes. With trembling fingers the Senju clasped his hands. Mokuton, Kajikai Korin, would release, advent of a world of flowering trees. Several large trees emerged from the ground and from their combined power a huge flower was born. Seconds later, it started releasing pollen that spread all around Naruto. "Naruto," said Kurama, "Not yet, not yet," muttered the boy, his vision clouded as energy started seeping away from his body. The need to just lie down and sleep grew stronger with every passing moment. But if he did that, then he would never wake up again. The faces of Kurenai, Haku, Kakashi, Sasuke, Tsunade, Sakura, Anko, Guren, the Sound Four and so many others flashed before his eyes. People who had trusted him, believed in him, sacrificed everything for his dream. And most of all, Yang Rei. Thought Naruto fiercely, if not for the Reich, if not for his comrades, if not for his comrades, if not for his people, then he had to fight for his children. Give them a life better than the one he had lived, they deserved that. And he would give them that no matter what. "Naruto, use Ryujin Jakka," advised Kurama. "I can't. If it is used here, then it will destroy every single person inside the capital. My wives and my children included," retorted Naruto sharply, "but dash. You don't know its true power, Kurama. Unless I face a true monster on the battlefield, I can't recklessly use that power," said Naruto seriously. "But Hashirama, he'll," said Kurama hesitantly. "I'll deal with him. If you continue to support me," asked Naruto, and received a grin from his fox. "You need not ask. I'm with you all the way," promised Kurama. "Then lend me your power." Hashirama blinked. The fatigue vanished from the Kaiser's face, the crumbling Susanoo started reforming again. 9 giant tails again erupted from its back, a wave of red energy channeled through the entire structure. Naruto smiled. A true genuine one as he looked at the stunned Senju. "The Kyuubi supports you?" asked Hashirama in shock, and saw Naruto scratching the back of his head. "He's a pain in the ass most of the time, but a good friend," said Naruto honestly. "Shut up. barked the fox, making Naruto laugh. You did what we couldn't, what none of your predecessors Jinchuriki couldn't. Naruto Uchiha, you. Said Hashirama in an astonished voice, the fight's not over yet, Senju. Challenged Naruto, Hashirama grinned. Clasping his hands together, he channeled all his chakra while giving his loudest battle cry. Naruto raised his 9 Susanoo tails, each holding a monstrous-tailed beast ball. Hyarinmaru glowed brighter than ever, and the layers of bones on the Susanoo increased rapidly. Senpo Mokutan, Shin Susenju, Sage Art would release, true several thousand hands. Hashirama created the greatest statue Naruto had ever seen. Towering hundreds of meters above his Susanoo, and having twice the mass it had the face of a Buddha. The most frightening thing about it were the 1,000 long, strong wooden arms. Both warriors looked at each other one last time. Naruto. Hashirama. And they charged. Naruto fired all of his tailed beast bombs. Hashirama unleashed his army of wooden hands. Strike after strike, blow after blow, the magnificent dance continued for several minutes. Layers upon layers of Naruto's Susanoo started crumbling, while hundreds of hands of the Buddha statue were getting destroyed simultaneously. Hashirama raised the right hand of his statue, a seal glowing on its palm. Kurama yelled a last-minute warning. Naruto's ice sword rose, slicing the incoming arm of the Buddha. Hundreds of wooden arms broke through the Susanoo, landing devastating blows on Naruto's true physical body. With great strength, the Kaiser burned all of them with his Mangekyou's black flames. Amidst the battle of their monstrous forms, Naruto and Hashirama's eyes connected with each other. Smiling, they leapt at each other away from the battling Susanoo and Buddha statue. Hashirama dashed forward and stabbed his sword clean through Naruto's gut. The Kaiser's eyes widened as he coughed blood. At the same time, Hashirama gasped. A sword held by Naruto had also pierced his gut. Time seemed to stop as the greatest warriors of the shinobi era gazed into each other's eyes. Naruto had tears in his eyes, while Hashirama was smiling. Become a Kaiser the likes of which this world has never seen before. Wished Hashirama, gently patting Naruto's head. I will. Promised Naruto, and, please, look after Tsunade. Naruto nodded. And Hashirama closed his eyes. Zenka no Tachi, Higashi, Kyokujitsujin, longsword of the remnant flame, void. The gigantic forms of the Susanoo and the Buddha statue shattered into millions of tiny pieces. Hashirama had a peaceful smile on his face. The Hokage's body crumbled and the divine light emerging from it was sealed inside the steel of Ryujin Jaka. The Senju faded into darkness. Your fight is over, Hashirama. Rest now. Said Naruto respectfully. The red barrier disappeared with the crumbling of Hashirama's clones. The Kaiser fell on his knees. Body completely exhausted, blood oozing from his gut and various other body parts. The Mangekyou fading away and Ryujin Jaka lying idly by his side. His vision darkened, even as he heard several voices and the silhouettes of people approaching towards him. We did it, Kurama. And the Kaiser collapsed. Sasuke had his eyes closed. His senses raised to their peaks, hands firmly holding his sword. The entire world had gone silent, as if every being in the galaxy had died, leaving him alone with the man in front of him. A man who single-handedly destroyed the most powerful clan in the entire world. A faint whisper echoed in the endless silence, marking the beginning of the end. His eyes snapped open to see an army of sharp, blood-thirsty shuriken headed towards him. His Mangekyou spinned, his sword raised to the front, and the dance started. There were many in the world who still claimed the Senju was better than the Uchiha. How wrong they were. History is always written by the victor. It was the reason why the world remembered the Senju as strong, not because the clan was actually stronger than the Uchiha, but the truth was that their leader was the most powerful warrior in the world. If not for Hashirama, the Uchihas were on the course of annihilating the Senjus in the Clan Wars era. But there was a saying which remained constant no matter the age. Karma's a bloody bitch. Now the Senju were gone, save for one last member who still remained in this world, and after her death that clan would be history. But the Uchihas will live on. Their leader was now the ruler of the entire world, and they would be the ones guiding mankind to a new future. Nothing could satisfy him more. And for this feeling to last, he was prepared to do everything in his power. Even if it meant dealing with Itachi Uchiha one last time. Itachi was quite surprised when Sasuke didn't move a muscle. Instead he tossed his fine sword forward towards the army of shuriken. The weapon itself spin deflecting the shuriken with great finesse. Sasuke remained still. His fingers moved as if playing an instrument, and the sword danced to the tune. So you mastered the art of using chakra for manipulating your weapon. Not only does it save chakra, but keeps you aware of different attacks which might come from your blind side. You've improved, Sasuke, thought Itachi. Itachi smirked. Taking out 2 explosive tags attached to kunai, he threw them straight into the wild fight going on between his brother's sword and the army of shuriken. If it was a battle of weapons Sasuke wanted, then he would get one. Sasuke saw the incoming bombs and grinned. His hand glowed brightly with chakra, and using the faintly visible link that he had with his sword he sent the energy straight to the weapon. Not a moment later, the sword fired 2 beams of chakra which connected with the exploding tags-laced kunai. The result was a magnificent explosion which destroyed the army of shuriken, as Sasuke brought his sword back in his hands. So, the slayer of the Tsuchikage does have some skills, said Itachi calmly. So does the butcher of the Uchiha, retorted Sasuke. Others might have missed it, but he saw the faint flinch on Itachi's face. That remark coming from the person he cared about most had hurt. But it was the truth, so the older brother didn't say anything more. Instead, Katan, Gokakyu no Jutsu, Fire Style, Fireball Jutsu. Katan, Gokakyu no Jutsu, Fire Style, Fireball Jutsu. Both brothers launched the traditional attack of their clan. 2 massive fireballs equal in size and power clashed with one another. Several strands of grass burned with the sheer heat radiated from these attacks. Instead of trying to overpower Itachi's attack, Sasuke threw his sword straight into those fireballs. Maintaining a link with that weapon, he channeled wine chakra through it, creating a wormhole, sending the pointed weapon straight towards a surprised Itachi. Displaying his own prowess, Itachi never wavered and grabbed the incoming sharp weapon with one hand. Just in time to see Sasuke acrobatically jump through the shrinking wormhole between the fireballs, and deliver a bone-crushing punch to the older Uchiha's face. Itachi was sent crashing away, but he managed to regain his balance. Back-flipped and steadied himself, although he couldn't stop a trail of blood from falling from his lips. Taking a smoke bomb from his pouch, he tossed it in the open. Soon enough the visibility in the field decreased significantly. Sasuke groaned in frustration. Why the hell was Itachi toying with him? He made a hand seal, determined to blow away this smoke, and then he realized his mistake. As soon as he inhaled the first scent of that air, his lungs burned. From within the smoke, a satisfied chuckle escaped from every direction. Hasty as always, Sasuke. Did you forget that I was an ANBU captain? Asked Itachi, his tone mocking. Sasuke cursed himself. He had made a grave mistake in assuming his brother would go for a wild battle. Itachi had been an ANBU captain just like Naruto. While they had monstrous power, most of their missions were assassinations and espionage. All of them were masters in the art of silent killing, in ending their enemy from the shadows before they even knew what was going on. And then it happened. A blur passed through Sasuke's right side. The right commander was quick to raise his sword, blocking a fatal attack that would have stabbed him in the chest. In doing so, he failed to counter a kunai from being lodged deep inside his left thigh. He silently screamed. The same thing happened again and again. The more Sasuke blocked, the more the shadowy Itachi hit him from the blind side. The more Sasuke screamed, the more poisonous smoke he inhaled, making him even less combat effective. He had heard several horror stories describing the fearsome power of his brother. Now he knew all of that was true. Fortunately, he was not the same teenage boy he had been a few years ago. Calculating the time lapse between Itachi's attacks, he prepared his move. When Itachi finished another attack and vanished into the shadows again, Sasuke performed a mysterious set of hand seals. Taking out a scroll from his back, he spread it open. Biting his thumb, he spread the blood on the blank sheet of paper. Fuin, seal. The smoke was sealed inside the scroll, leaving behind free, clean air for Sasuke to breathe again. His older brother stood before him, a small mask attached to his face. Itachi appeared to be unharmed. The same could not be said for Sasuke, whose entire body was sporting cuts and bruises. "Done yet, Sasuke?" asked Itachi patiently. "I'm just getting started," replied Sasuke. With a fierce battle cry, Sasuke leapt towards his brother. His fists moved with frightening speed, one aiming for Itachi's chest while the other going towards the ANBU captain's face. Itachi blocked the first, and sent a swift kick straight for his brother's ribs. Sasuke seized the moment, and the hand which was previously going for Itachi's face took out a hidden kunai from its wrists. Mercilessly, Sasuke stabbed Itachi's hand that was aiming for his ribs. Itachi grunted. Even so, the ANBU captain moved swiftly, engaging Sasuke in a series of kicks and punches. Both were equals. One in speed, the other in power. Sasuke aimed an uppercut, which was countered by Itachi with a leg sweep. The right commander jumped and received a brutal kick to his chest which sent him crashing away. A second later Itachi was on top of him, but Sasuke slipped from between his feet. Rising behind Itachi's back, he then gave a severe kick to his brother. Punch after punch, kick after kick, strike, evade, miss. The cycle continued for several minutes as the brothers continued to engage and hurt each other in the brutal match. It came to an end when Sasuke slipped inside Itachi's close quarter and delivered a swift elbow to his brother's nose. Crack! Itachi jumped away, a lot of blood now coming out of his broken nose. "Your taijutsu is better than mine," complimented Itachi. Sasuke didn't give a verbal reply, and simply made his Mangekyo spin. Itachi, recognizing the move, did the same. Amaterasu. Amaterasu. A display of power which would have made Fugaku Uchiha proud. His two sons unleashed a stormy blaze of black flames. Sasuke's attack had transformed into the shape of an arrow, while Itachi's attack had taken the form of a large wall of black flames. Each trying to overpower the other and get to the jutsu's caster. Blood leaked from both of the brothers' eyes. The pain in their Sharingan increased, but they kept on going. Hell-bent on testing each other's visual powers, Sasuke's eyes widened when another Itachi emerged from his back and grabbed him. A clone without a hand seal. Just like Naruto, if my prediction is right, thought Sasuke worriedly. Boom. Itachi narrowed his eyes when in the midst of black smoke, he saw a shadowy figure looking at a distance. "So you mastered it," thought Itachi proudly. Soon enough Sasuke emerged from the smoke completely unharmed. A skeleton structure was present protectively around the younger Uchiha. Its rear bones were slowly reforming again, showing that they were the ones who had bared the full attack of Itachi's suicidal clone. Sasuke performed another set of hand seals, a gesture which Itachi performed identically. Kuchios no Jutsu, summoning technique. Itachi summoned a huge crow which lifted him off the ground, while Sasuke summoned a large purple-colored snake. The creature was larger than a mountain and reached quite high in the air with Sasuke standing on top of it. "So, Naruto did give you the spoils of war. I believe the Kaiser gave you the snake contract and the right conquered Otogakure," suggested Itachi. "The Kaiser knows in what manner he needs to reward his subordinates for their loyalty," said Sasuke flatly. "Oh, and you aren't ashamed of being called the man's subordinate? You weren't too keen on someone ordering you around in the past," said Itachi. "On the contrary, I'm quite proud to serve under Naruto. He made me the army commander, entrusted me with the security of the Reich for years. Never once did he interfere with my work or my methods. I don't think I would have been allowed any of this in the ninja villages since I was an Uchiha. Spat Sasuke bitterly, and yet Kakashi commands your armies in this war? What kind of commander are you? Mocked Itachi. To his surprise, Sasuke smiled. Kakashi is a war veteran and has seen a world war. His experience and talents have already secured our first victory, and by now thousands of resistance soldiers would be dead. Said Sasuke proudly. That did manage to shock Itachi. Naruto, it seems you managed to get my brother in line. Good for him. Thought Itachi. Enough talk. Said Sasuke. Aoda. The large blue-colored snake with light green eyes straightened up on his master's command. Itachi prepared himself as the snake took a deep breath. Dokujin no Jutsu, Poison Cloud Technique. The snake blew out a deep purple-colored gas from his mouth, and it headed straight towards Itachi. The ANBU captain performed his own move, the giant crow screeched. The sound wave that was generated made Sasuke grasp his head in pain. His snake too was in agony. Meanwhile, Itachi had created a shadow clone and both of them had completed their preparations. Katan, Goka Makyaku, Fire Release, Great Fire Annihilation. Futon de Tapa, Wind Release, Great Breakthrough Jutsu. The fire attack violently clashed with the poison mist, burning away its harmful particles with its scorching heat. Then came the wind wave which completely scattered Sasuke's attack, making it useless. By then, Sasuke and his snake summon had somehow managed to recover themselves. But Itachi had made the first strike. Suiton, Suryudan no Jutsu, Water Release, Water Dragon Bullet Technique. The Itachi shadow clone created a large water dragon and sent it straight for the slithering snake summon. While the original Suiton, Suidan no Jutsu, Water Release, Water Bullet Technique. The original Itachi fired hundreds of sharp water bullets towards his brother. Both water attacks charged, but Sasuke stood his ground. Aoda, charge in. Commanded Sasuke coldly, without any fear or doubt. The snake leapt forward despite the attacks charging towards him and his summoner. Sasuke used his Mangekyo again and the water dragon was destroyed in an inferno of black flames. A chirping sound echoed through the area, as he pointed his hand forward towards the incoming water bullets. Chidori Senbon. Sasuke launched several needle-shaped electric charges which clashed with the incoming water bullets, ferociously sending sparks everywhere. Itachi's eyes widened slightly when the slithering snake made a large jump off the ground. Something which the Uchiha thought was impossible for a creature of that size. The Reich commander used the momentary flight which his snake had taken. Jumping off Aoda's head, Sasuke aimed himself straight at Itachi, who was inside his range now. Chidori Iso, Chidori Spear. Itachi saw a large, sharp spear headed straight for him and urgently brought his shadow clone forward. He was further surprised when Sasuke smirked and twisted in the air, and the spear which was aimed at Itachi instead pierced through the giant crow's brain. Kwach, howled the bird. You always had your aim set on my crow. Thought Itachi. The crow disappeared in a great smoke explosion, and Itachi didn't know why, but he brought his shadow clone before him as both of them started falling towards the ground. His instincts proved right when Sasuke teleported right in front of him, his blade piercing clean through the clone's heart. Amenota Jikara, Heavenly Hand Power. Itachi gave a harsh kick to Sasuke, sending him away, thereby buying some time for himself. How wrong he was. As soon as he emerged from the smoke cloud, he saw Aoda had leapt straight to eat him raw. His Mangekyo spinned rapidly as he whispered, Amaterasu. The snake's eyes widened but not in pain. Itachi landed on a tall tree, and saw Sasuke had appeared before his summon, shielding the creature from the black flames using a part of his Susanoo. Sasuke-sama. Said Aoda in surprise and awe. Don't lose focus, Aoda. Scolded Sasuke. As you command, replied the snake devotedly, Sasuke shifted his gaze to Itachi, who hadn't moved from his spot on that tall tree. His older brother seemed to be simply observing him with a strange haunted look in his eyes. I never thought I'd ever see Shirsui's powers again. Your Mangekyo has the same, said Itachi in shock. Maybe. My teleportation is not on the level of the Yondaime Hokage or Shirsui. But it is enough to deal with you, replied Sasuke flatly. But it has two disadvantages. One is the range, which is quite short, and the other is that it takes time for you to use that along with a lot of chakra, suggested Itachi. Sasuke flinched. Itachi smiled on his little victory. Not only that it takes time to recharge, so you can't use it often. That's why you were in such a rush to take me out after killing my crow. Am I right, Sasuke? Asked Itachi calmly. His analytical skills are as good as ever. Thought Sasuke bitterly. So, is that all you've got to throw at me? Because if it is, then this battle is over, said Itachi seriously. Itachi grunted and a skeleton structure started forming around his own body. First the hands, then the chest, the legs, the bare skull, and finally the demonic eyes. Sasuke unconsciously stepped back, so did Aoda. Not yet, Sasuke, chided Itachi. Veins and muscles formed around the skeleton's form. Soon the development of armor followed. In one of its hands it held a large liquefied orange-red colored sword, and in the other some kind of shield which was of the same color. The final form of the Susanoo was humanoid in appearance, and resembled a knight with a helmet and armor. This is it, Sasuke. My ultimate and most strongest weapon, the final Susanoo, said Itachi loudly. Sasuke never gave a verbal reply. Instead he nodded to his snake, who repeated the same gesture, clasping his hands together while glancing straight at his brother. Then allow me to show you something the Kaiser taught me, said Sasuke frankly. Itachi was surprised when an armor of Susanoo bones started forming all over the giant snake's body. While that development was happening with the creature, Sasuke had developed a demonic Susanoo around him, which was attached to Aoda's head as a shield. It was purple in color, and looked completely like an evil humanoid form with menacing eyes. A bow was resting in one of its hands, while the other held a chakra shield. The combined image made Sasuke and his summon look like a mermaid due to the unusual shape, but Itachi knew their power had increased greatly. Let's end this, Itachi, said Sasuke, his voice sounding harsh and panting. Itachi nodded. Beads of sweat also rolling down his face, along with his breathing became heavy. Unlike the Kaiser, who had endless chakra reserves, their energy had its limits. And Sasuke had already been on a mission where he had fought and encountered Itachi, while the ANBU captain had his own reasons for getting this tired. So be it, agreed Itachi. With one last nod, the two brothers charged. Sasuke immediately made Aoda's lower half twist and wrap around Itachi's Susanoo's legs. In return, Itachi dashed his shield-like weapon in a fence, only to be blocked by Sasuke's own smaller shield. The Reich commander grit his teeth when he was pushed back. Applying more chakra, he pushed his brother even more. Itachi slammed his sword cleanly towards the Susanoo-covered snake. When it made contact, it instantly started absorbing the Susanoo chakra quickly. Sasuke-sama, this is the sword of Tatsuka, hissed Aoda in horror. What? Yelled Sasuke, it can seal anything. Even summoned creatures into an endless genjutsu-filled world in that pot which your opponent is holding. Every summoning creature has received warnings about such divine weapons, explained Aoda urgently. Sasuke snarled and clenched his fists. Itachi's holy sword, which was about to touch Aoda's snake, was instantly blocked by another layer of Susanoo bones. This is not over, Itachi, yelled Sasuke furiously. Raising his bow in the air, he aimed it straight at his brother. Enten, Susanoo Kagutsuchi, blaze release, Susanoo Kagutsuchi. Sasuke launched several large arrows completely composed of black flames one after another wildly. Itachi grimaced. Raising his shield, he blocked the attack with great ease, but Sasuke used that chance to start pushing his brother back further and further. Itachi looked at his divine sword to see it was still not making much progress, with Sasuke recharging Aoda's defense with Susanoo. The snake in turn provided the required force to push Itachi's Susanoo back. A good tag team. His eyes glanced at Sasuke, who was attacking him bravely, but Itachi also saw the sweat on his brother's face, along with the blood which he occasionally vomited from his mouth. To stand up against my Susanoo and Tatsuka. Little brother, you have truly, thought Itachi, his eyes moistened. At that moment, Itachi had an epiphany, realization. Seeing Sasuke fighting so hard had shown him that his brother had finally become a man of his own. He had a goal, a life free from the destructive desires of vengeance, people who actually cared about him, a system in which he truly believed, and was soon to become a father. No longer was Sasuke the little boy who needed Itachi's protection and guidance. Thank you, Naruto. You saved my brother, made him the hero I always wanted him to be. Thought Itachi peacefully. It also meant that Sasuke was his equal now, and not going all out would be an insult to his brother. Both of them were warriors, who were fighting for different sides. The better one had to win, even if it meant the other's death. Sasuke was shocked when Itachi pushed his entire Susanoo back in one violent slam. Prepare yourself, Sasuke, warned Itachi gravely. Several black reddish-colored balls of energy started forming around Itachi's Susanoo, while the same thing was happening around Sasuke's Susanoo's mouth. Yasaka no Magatama. Yasaka no Magatama. Boom. 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 As if the hammer of the gods were raining on the earth, violent explosions rocked the entire forest. Amidst the battle cries of the Uchiha brothers, the fires spreading across the landscape, the deafening sound of explosions, horrible destruction of trees and wildlife, the battle continued to rage on. Neither fighter backed down and poured every ounce of their power in the battle. At the end of it, Sasuke and Itachi both were panting harshly, blood and sweating oozing from their bodies. Their Susanoo had reduced in size and shape. Even so, the brothers had satisfying smiles on their faces. Time seemed to stop. Both of them positioned their Susanoo, eyes set on each other, weapons ready. The final moment arriving before them. Itachi, Sasuke, and the brothers charged towards each other. Itachi's Tatsuka blade burned brighter than ever as the Uchiha poured all his power into it. The sword was raised forward, aimed straight for Sasuke. Sasuke fired several arrows from his bow which managed to strike several parts of Itachi's armor. And then with a loud roar. Bang! Silence. There was absolutely no sound across the forest now. Even though the winds had stopped, Itachi now had tears freely falling from his eyes. His eyes fixed on his holy sword which had pierced through Sasuke's Susanoo and ran straight through not only his little brother's heart but also through Aoda's brain. Sasuke's eyes were wide, blood leaking from his mouth as he stared at Itachi. I'm sorry, Sasuke, said Itachi tearfully. A lone tear slipped from Sasuke's eyes as he gave an understanding gaze to his older brother along with a small sad smile. So am I. Itachi gasped. The stabbed form of Sasuke vanished from in front of his eyes, and only the horrified face of Aoda remained. A sharp sword had pierced straight through Itachi's gut, courtesy of a crying Sasuke who was now standing behind him. One of his Mangekyo is slowly closing forever. Izanagi, said Itachi with a smile. The Susanoo's vanished as both brothers fell towards the ground. Sasuke grasped Itachi in his arms, saving his wounded brother from further injury. Gently he dragged Itachi's wounded form beneath the shade of a tree. At that moment, Itachi's Mangekyo spotted something that broke his heart. Sasuke, you, said Itachi, his voice numb. I finally surpassed you, Itachi, said Sasuke proudly, even as he grasped his chest. Itachi tried to move in order to help his brother, but his body was completely exhausted. On top of that, Sasuke had given him a grave wound, even so the wound was not completely lethal. "You never wanted to kill me?" asked Itachi in shock. "I told you before, that since Naruto has no interest in you, I am the only one who has the right to render judgment for your crimes. You have suffered enough, your suffering is over now," declared Sasuke, coughing blood from his mouth. "Sasuke." The younger brother waved his hand while shaking his head. As Itachi's Sharingan faded away, he clearly saw Sasuke's heartbeat was slowly decreasing. "This was not supposed to happen," said Itachi, his voice completely broken. To his surprise, Sasuke chuckled lightly. "Yeah, you were going to pretend all high and mighty and die at my hands in the end." "Not this time, Itachi. For the first time in my life, I am at peace," said Sasuke flatly. "You didn't have to destroy your body for that. I would have gladly died for you," yelled Itachi furiously, "but I don't want that. I have also killed many people, some of them innocents. My hands too are stained with blood, just like you. If you had allowed me to win, not only would I be ashamed of myself and my powers for the rest of my life, but I would have to live with the regret that I killed my beloved brother after knowing what suffering you had to endure your entire life," explained Sasuke honestly. "And now you'll make me live with the same regret?" asked Itachi, defeated, but Sasuke shook his head. "This was my choice, not yours. There is nothing you can do for me now, but if you truly feel something for me, then fulfill 2 wishes of mine," requested Sasuke. "I know what you're going to ask," said Itachi silently, making Sasuke smirk. "Surrender to the Kaiser, give him every information you have about the Akatsuki and the resistance. And show him this," said Sasuke seriously. With his blood-stained hands, the Reich commander took out a scroll and wrote a short message on it. When he was finished, he gave it to Itachi. "This should be enough to give you a full pardon, and allow you to live a normal life in the Reich if we win this war," said Sasuke hopefully. "Why?" Itachi's question made Sasuke look at the sky. "Naruto taught me that life is too short for revenge. Besides, mother would have wanted this too," said Sasuke. Itachi's resolve broke. For the first time in a decade, he wept openly while sitting beside Sasuke. His brother's breathing was becoming more and more slow with every passing moment, yet Sasuke was smiling while glancing at the sky. "A wise man once told me that it is the utmost happiness in life to have someone to whom one can entrust their child at the time of their death. Sasuke, look after my child, Itachi. If there is any punishment for you, then that should do it. Besides, I would be a terrible father," joked Sasuke. I'm not asking for your opinion. Get that through your thick skull," said Sasuke sharply, silencing his brother. Itachi suddenly sensed something and turned towards Sasuke with hope burning in his eyes. "Sasuke, I sense people heading this way. They're coming from the air, I can sense the bird signature," said Itachi happily, his heart shattered on seeing Sasuke's shoulders had already slumped. His breathing had reduced almost to nothing, his eyes had almost closed. Even as Itachi tried to help his dying brother, Sasuke was already drifting further away. "Whatever happened to me? I'm barely acting like myself. Someone as proud and stubborn as Sasuke Fugaku Uchiha is dying a death about which others would say something like, 'The brat became a virtuous man when he died,'" thought Sasuke bemusedly. His vision had completely darkened, and he could barely hear Itachi calling his name and speaking incoherent sentences over and over. "It's silly, but maybe it's all right. To each their own, in their life and their death. But still, for those few people I've respected and loved, I pray they die a more graceful death," thought Sasuke. The faces of Naruto, Sakura, Kurenai, Haku, Kakashi, Anko, Hinata, Tsunade, Gaara, and most of all his unborn child passed through his memory. He remembered how furious he used to get when Naruto usually arrived late during their Team 7 meetings, and even after he became Kaiser. He smiled, remembering the constant scolding he would give the Kaiser, and the man would apologize over and over. "Naruto, you're late as always. I was planning to live until you arrived, but looks like I won't make it. You're such a lazy asshole for a Kaiser," thought Sasuke weakly, a faint smile visible on his lips. Itachi's tears had long since dried up as he slowly witnessed his brother slip further away from him. The only thing that had kept him sane was the faint smile that was visible on Sasuke's lips, showing his brother was not in pain. Occasionally he would mutter something which was too confusing for Itachi to understand. He had tried to heal Sasuke's wounds, but he was not a medic nor did he have any chakra left. Most of all, Sasuke had destroyed his body from the inside to win the battle. Sasuke's pride had led to his downfall. Itachi edged closer to Sasuke, supporting his brother in sitting straight despite the blood leaking from his own body. Without medical help, even Itachi would die soon, but none of that mattered to him. Then he heard Sasuke's voice clearly and picked up the scroll nearby to write the message. "Main Kaiser Sakura. Long live the Reich." Itachi's eyes widened when Sasuke's shoulders completely slumped, his eyes closed, breathing stopped. Frantically, he checked his little brother's pulse and only received silence in return. "Sasuke," said Itachi tearfully. "Commander Sasuke," yelled Itachi, hoping to awaken the boy with force. After a few moments of desperate struggle, Itachi stopped. With tears falling from his eyes, the ANBU captain gave a deep respectful salute to his fallen little brother. On December 24th, at 23:24 hours, Imperial Year 5, Sasuke Uchiha's time stopped at the age of 21. Naruto groggily opened his eyes. The first thing he noticed was a bright flash of light which temporarily blinded him. He tried to raise his hand to block the offending light but found an unbearable pain erupt in his chest. Distantly, he heard someone curse and hurried footsteps rapidly approaching towards him. Soon enough he saw a woman looming over him. Dark black hair, fair face, perfect makeup on her cheeks. Soon enough he saw her ruby eyes. "Kurenai," said Naruto, his voice hoarse. A look of relief spread across her face as she wiped a few tears away from her eyes. Then she did something unexpected. Naruto had quickly closed his eyes, fearing the bop she would give him for getting injured like this. He was surprised when a soft pair of lips met his parched ones, the simple gesture breathing new life into his nearly dead body. Satisfied, she broke the kiss and detached herself from him. Naruto had a smug grin on his face as he said, "I could definitely get used to this." Bam! A light bop connected with his head, making him wince just a little. "And here I thought I'd get a grand reception. Damn women," muttered Naruto childishly. "I heard that," retorted Kurenai sharply. "Crap." She gave him her best murderous glare, and for the first time Naruto got a clear look at his body. His entire chest was naked and wrapped up in bandages, his left arm tied up in a sledge showing it was broken. Half of his face burned with scratches and cuts. There was a deep painful sensation inside his chest. Fortunately, his legs looked alright. "How bad?" asked Naruto meekly. A nurse standing hidden in a corner had her eyes wide on seeing the almighty Kaiser being scolded like a little child for the next few minutes. Even the man who ruled the world could get an earsome every now and then. "Alright, geez. Give me a break, okay? If I knew it was going to be this bad, I would have instead preferred dying and enjoying with my Ika in the afterlife," complained Naruto. When he didn't receive an answer, he looked up to see Kurenai on the verge of tears again. "Don't ever say something like that again," said Kurenai sternly. "Hi," replied Naruto, feeling a little intimidated from the bloody murderous glare she was currently giving him. "So, how long was I out?" asked Naruto carefully. "One day." "What?" Kurenai smacked her forehead, when the poor nurse fainted on hearing the Kaiser's shriek. Her eyebrows twitched as she glared back at Naruto, who muttered a meek "sorry." Sighing, she placed her hand over his chest, making Naruto blush a little. Your heart beats fine and stable, thank God. You seem to be in good mental condition too, no permanent damage. Not that there was much to be done, since you are already insane. Said Kurenai nonchalantly. Hey, protested Naruto, shut up. The Kaiser instantly adopted a vow of silence as Kurenai performed her series of tests. Still his eager curious look was clearly visible on his face, and Kurenai sighed on seeing that he was itching to ask another series of questions. Taking a deep breath, she looked at him. Ask. Are the enemies defeated? Yes. The capital is secure now. Answered Kurenai honestly, but there was something strange in her eyes. Where's Haku? Not that I'm not happy to see you here. Said Naruto carefully, not sure whether Haku and Kurenai still had their Cold War on. You could never tell when it comes to women. Thought Naruto sagely, quite true. Agreed Kurama, thanks. Muttered Naruto, with a grin. Hey, are you even listening to me? Asked Kurenai irritatedly, snapping Naruto out of his inner talk. Of course. Lied Naruto outright. Kurenai sighed. But refrained from scolding him more. Haku's in hospital. Said Kurenai calmly. What? One more ear-piercing scream, and I'll chop your balls off. You get that, you lunatic? Yelled Kurenai, frustration evident in her voice. Hi. Haku is safe and healthy. So is Yang. Reassured Kurenai, she watched in fascination as Naruto got a mysterious look in his eyes and a gentle smile on his face. It reminded her that Naruto had grown up so fast during the past few years. That's good. Said Naruto in relief. Naruto, is Orochimaru really dead? I don't doubt Anko's testimony, but the bastard always sneaked away in the past. Said Kurenai hesitantly, as he looked her straight in the eye. He's dead. I obliterated him to the last cell inside his body. Said Naruto icily, making her flinch. He could be quite scary at times. I'm glad to hear that. Said Kurenai truthfully, she frowned when he became extremely silent. His eyes lowered as he stared at his own clenched fists. How many dead? Asked Naruto sadly. Kurenai bristled. She had wanted to keep this part away from him for a while, at least until his wounds healed. But he gave her a polite yet stern gaze which she had to submit to. This was the Kaiser and her fiancé after all. While you battled with Orochimaru and his army, the Akatsuki attacked the capital. They were led by a masked man. Said Kurenai. The former Hokage was shocked to see no surprise on Naruto's face. It was as if the Kaiser. You knew they would do so? Asked Kurenai incredulously. He sighed. It was going to happen sooner or later. I already revealed to you that I worked with that organization and together we captured the tailed beasts. Pointed Naruto, her glare intensified. You made a deal with the devil. Said Kurenai harshly, making Naruto look away. They were the only ones with the resources to store the tailed beasts and provide me with weapons, supplies, money and manpower. My Reich was young and growing, constantly at war with the entire might of the shinobi world. If even one of the major villages knew the location of the captured beasts, then I would have to divide my already few resources between protecting my territories and the tailed beasts. And if I had done that, the Reich would have collapsed. Confessed Naruto. Kurenai wanted to say a lot more things, but she couldn't. She herself had been a Hokage, been in the shoes and had to make similar harsh decisions as a leader. She could only imagine the agony Naruto was in right now. They killed a lot of our people, Naruto. Said Kurenai devastatingly. Tell me everything. Said Naruto, his voice firm yet his eyes were numb. The Akatsuki attacked with a small infiltration team with the masked man leading the charge. They were after something specific, something which you entrusted the Sound 4 to protect. Said Kurenai, curiosity and confusion evident in her eyes. Did they get what they came for? Asked Naruto. already knowing the answer. The entire royal guard led by the Sound Four fought against them. Except for a critically wounded Taiyuya, there were no other survivors. Naruto closed his eyes. His fists dug deep inside his palms. Kurenai sympathetically stared as the Kaiser choked back a sob. It took him a few moments, but he managed to regain his composure to some extent. "Go on," said Naruto stoically, his eyes cold and nearly dead. Guren sacrificed her life in stopping Kimimaro and the rest of the invaders. Nearly 100 Reich soldiers also died honorably in battle. "We are still counting civilian casualties," said Kurenai respectfully. Naruto's mouth opened and closed again. He grit his teeth, but said nothing. Even so, just a simple glance in his eyes was enough to show that the Kaiser knew that all these deaths were on his hands. "Your fight is over, everyone," said Naruto sadly. Kurenai watched in awe as the Kaiser made a silent prayer for his deceased soldiers. The warriors who had followed his orders to the letter and made the ultimate sacrifice for the Reich and in the name of their Kaiser. What were they protecting so fiercely? "Naruto?" asked Kurenai compassionately. "The Zero Tails and a boy called Sora who was a pseudo-Jinchuriki containing some of the Kyuubi's chakra," confessed Naruto gravely. "What?" Not surprisingly, Kurenai was shocked on hearing that. She had heard rumors about the Zero Tails, but thought the creature existed in reality and was now in Akatsuki's hands. And someone other than Naruto having the Kyuubi power? Naruto sighed and explained how he and Sasuke had captured the Zero Tails a few years ago, and Sora becoming a part of their Reich once Fire Nation had been conquered. He also explained how Sora's father was present during the Kyuubi attack on Konoha, and managed to capture some of the foul chakra of the beast and seal it into his own son for selfish reasons. Kurenai's head dropped in shame as she was again reminded about the brutalities committed by her own people in the name of righteousness and pride. "You're right, Naruto. The ninja world has to end, to turn even a father so blind, so he could do such an atrocity on his own son." "And for what?" asked Kurenai distastefully. "Every person has darkness within them. It depends on the person as to how far they fall into that endless abyss. If you look at it from that point, each of us has sinned. I kept these secrets from all of my supporters except for Sasuke. And now so many of my soldiers died paying for my mistakes. The most painful part is that none of them even knew the reason for which they gave their lives," said Naruto shamefully. Kurenai laid a gentle hand on his shoulder and felt how badly he was trembling with anger and sorrow. "No, you're wrong at that point. All of them knew that they were dying for their Kaiser. They believed that their actions, no matter how small or insignificant, would ultimately help their leader in winning a future for their people and humanity. As long as you succeed, none of them would have died in vain," explained Kurenai seriously. He nodded. Then, much to her frustration, Naruto started to get up from his bed. When she tried to stop him, he raised a firm hand, stopping her instantly. To her surprise, he actually managed to get back on his feet easily and wordlessly stepped towards the window of the room. His eyes looked at the afternoon sun shining in the sky, the repairs going around his capital and people trying to restore their lives. Kurenai stepped beside him and saw his eyes were fixed on several bodies of soldiers and civilians alike which were slowly being cleared from the streets of the capital. "For humans, there is an appropriate life as well as an appropriate death," said Naruto, a faraway look present in his eyes. "Naruto? Never mind, thank you for saving my life. Order Anko to prepare our forces. I shall march to the battlefield in the next few hours," said Naruto seriously. "You can't do that," replied Kurenai flatly, making him stare at her. "Why?" "I've healed the lethal wounds and your body seems to be healing the remaining ones pretty rapidly. But it does not change the fact that a part of your artery that connects the heart and lungs has been damaged and it needs a lot more healing. I just managed to freeze the wound and stop the hemorrhage, but you need a critical surgery and rest for at least 5 more days. If you don't do that, it could be harmful," warned Kurenai. She frowned when he smiled. I don't like surgery or resting in hospitals, Kurenai. Said Naruto flatly. Kaiser, this is not a matter of like or dislike. It concerns your life, replied Kurenai sternly, but he shook his head. No, it is a more important matter than simple like or dislike. Believe it or not, victory in this war depends on how well I lead my people and help them defeat the enemy who clearly outnumbers our forces. I'm their best bet, and besides, lying around in my pajamas on a hospital bed waiting for death or something worse doesn't suit me, said Naruto calmly. Kurenai stared at him. She could not describe it in words, but the glow on Naruto's face was shining brighter than ever, even when the color of his face had grown so pale. Besides, I don't trust anyone other than Tsunade or Sakura to perform such a surgery on me. Since both of them are on the front lines, it is imperative that you take me there as fast as possible. That is if you want to save my life, said Naruto smartly. You're evil, said Kurenai, heaving a heavy sigh. I don't like this any more than you do, Kurenai. But my life isn't mine anymore. When I decided to conquer the world, I also undertook the responsibility of protecting those under my reign. My soldiers are facing an enemy thrice their size, more than that. The Akatsuki will soon enough join this war. I can't leave my subordinates to face such an adversity alone. Will you support me? Because even I can't do all of this on my own, said Naruto patiently. In return, Kurenai gave him a determined gaze. I will, main Kaiser, said Kurenai confidently. He smiled. You don't have to necessarily call me that, replied Naruto lightly, but she shook her head in denial. I'll have to think about it. I see. If I had just a few more months to finish my preparations, then I would have attacked the Akatsuki, neutralized them, and then focused my attention on the resistance. But it seems the enemy was faster in making their move, still, thought Naruto worriedly. It's coming to an end, isn't it, Naruto? Asked Kurama silently. So it would seem, old friend. If you have even a shred of a doubt at any point of time, then don't hesitate to talk to me about it, said Naruto compassionately. Naruto, you really need surgery and medical rest. That battle with Hashirama was, said Kurama, and shivered on remembering how scary it had been. Even so, Naruto managed to defeat the strongest shinobi of all times, although he himself didn't come out of the battle unscathed. Do what you can. My people need me, instructed Naruto. Very well, Naruto. But the pain will be severe and will get worse. I suggest you manage your expressions as best as you can, suggested Kurama, his voice sounding tired and extremely sad. I will. Kurama simply stared as Naruto talked with Kurenai for nearly half an hour. The woman slowly but patiently explained the entire tactical situations across the Reich, and Naruto listened to her. After hearing about all the problems, Naruto directed her with various solutions and orders. Unknown to the beautiful woman, the Kaiser was suffering an unending pain. Even so, he kept his expressions neutral and never once did he reveal his own suffering to her. Naruto was fighting as bravely as he could, for he knew what was at stake and the entire world's fate depended upon how he acted. In his long existence, Kurama had never seen a man like this. Kaiser Naruto was nothing less than Kaiser Naruto himself, no matter the circumstances. His relentless rationality and indomitable self-control was something even his enemies feared and respected. It was the reason the Reich had survived so far despite the odds heavily stacked against them. Where are my friends and my daughter? Asked Naruto suddenly, surprising Kurenai. I ordered Anko to release them from their coffins, but they are being contained inside a safe barrier since they are still under Orochimaru's control and lack a will of their own, said Kurenai frankly. A sound decision, agreed Naruto, and saw Kurenai bite her lip. What is it? Kaiser, I say this with all due respect to your feelings. Even if you are able to somehow free them, it doesn't change the fact that they are dead. You will have to allow them to return to the afterlife and rest in peace, advised Kurenai. She stepped back quickly when Naruto violently turned around and gave her the most menacing glare she had ever seen. Even his Mangekyo Sharingan came alive, making him look more fierce and threatening. "Kurenai, Kurenai." Hi, Kaiser," said Kurenai weakly. "Do you have a right to disappoint me to this degree?" asked Naruto furiously. The Kaiser clenched his fists and took a few deep breaths on seeing the fear in her eyes. Even so, he angrily turned around, not wanting to scare her further. "Anyone and everyone, be they friend or family, they all go and leave me behind. Why don't they continue to live on, for my sake?" yelled Naruto, raw anger and pain visible in his voice. Kurenai's trembling stopped, on seeing Naruto's shoulders slumping as the Kaiser sat back on his bed. "I won't let them go. I don't remember giving permission to the three of them to leave me alone again. Each of them made me suffer all these years, taking a part of my heart and soul when they died. And in the end, you tell me they are going to do such cruelty to me again?" asked Naruto incredulously. "Naruto. No, not this time. For what reason did I attain so much power? Why did I conquer the entire world? Just to let the people most important to me go away? I am Kaiser Naruto, the ruler of this world. I will get what I want, even if death is my opponent. To satisfy the hole in my heart, I will obliterate the boundaries of life and death," declared Naruto fiercely. "You don't have that kind of power, Naruto. Nor do I think any person should have it, even you," said Kurenai compassionately. "Then I will get that power. I've surpassed impossible odds before, I can do it again. I understand why you're saying that I shouldn't, but you don't have any children of your own yet. Nor have you lost any of your best friends. That pain destroys you from the inside. If not for Sasuke, Gaara or Kakashi, I believe you would only be seeing a shell of this Kaiser right now," said Naruto passionately. Kurenai nodded. Everything he said was the harsh truth. She couldn't possibly understand the pain he felt even if she wanted to. Fortunately, even after he lost his daughter and root friends, he had a few others who supported him. If not for those people, she could already see Naruto straying from the right path. He had a sea of anger inside his heart which he usually kept under control with his self-control and help from his friends, but there were times when he lost it. And those moments were quite dangerous for everyone. Every person in the world had a flaw. It was a distinctive trait in humanity. Even the Kaiser was no such exception. You've lost so much in your entire life that the mere thought of losing even more, especially your loved ones, terrifies you, thought Kurenai worriedly. It was Naruto's fatal flaw, one which his enemies had always used against him, and every time the Kaiser had suffered. Even now he was suffering. If my friends and family aren't alive to live peacefully in the world I created, then there is no point to all of this. I might as well just allow the resistance and Akatsuki to do whatever they want," said Naruto defeatedly. She hesitantly stepped forward and sat beside him. Gently placing her head on his shoulder and taking his hand in her own, she spoke in a soft, compassionate voice. "Then we'll find another way," said Kurenai finally. "But don't my wish and actions violate your morals at every level?" asked Naruto hesitantly. At that point, she looked him straight in the eye. The compassion, love that burned in her ruby-colored eyes made the last remnants of anger wash away from his heart. Resting his other free hand on her cheek, he laid a tender kiss on her forehead. "I'm sorry for lashing out at you like that. I just don't have many friends or family left to sacrifice. You of all people should know what I fear most," said Naruto worriedly. "Loneliness," said Kurenai gently. He nodded. "I can go up against anything, but I can't bear the loss of any more of my loved ones. Not that there are many left to begin with." "I understand. I'll do everything in my power to fulfill your wish. You have always cared about the feelings of others. It is right that we do the same for your feelings. I love you, Naruto. Even when we were on the opposite sides, even when we went our separate ways, even when you married Haku. Despite the odds, you never gave up on me, never stopped loving me no matter how much I hurt you with my actions. I want to do the same for you as well. Will you allow me to do that? Asked Kurenai sincerely. A full warm smile came on his face. Etching closer, he placed a passionate kiss on her lips. In that tiny moment, he felt himself relaxing. Words couldn't describe how empty he had been without her all these years, and now to have her by his side. To feel her love again was a gift which he would cherish forever. Thank you, said Naruto, slowly breaking the kiss. Would you like to meet them? Asked Kurenai, a warm smile shining on her lips. I thought you'd never allow that. Maybe even give me an entire list of medical reasons to keep me sealed inside this room. Teased Naruto, as she scoffed. As if I have that much power to stop the Kaiser. Even if I do have that power, you'll just sneak away the moment I take my eyes off you. Besides, there is only so much I can do for you. I may know medical ninjutsu, but I am no Tsunade or Sakura. Said Kurenai frankly. Then you'll come with me to meet them? They'll be happy to meet you. Said Naruto happily. Kurenai smiled. She was relieved and happy to see the joy and delight return in the weary Kaiser's eyes as he told him some important things about Sai, Shin and Rei. The way in which he enthusiastically described the character of his best friends and daughter showed just how much the Kaiser loved them. Yes, I'll come with you. Who else would have time to haul your lazy ass out of hospital? Teased Kurenai, but he smirked. Maybe I'll just summon Haku. Retorted Naruto, the cocky smirk widening just a little. You will do no such thing. The Kaiser needs rest. Stupid men don't know the toll childbirth takes on women. Am I understood? Demanded Kurenai. Seems you two have become good friends. Thought Naruto in satisfaction. Hi. Said Naruto in resignation. Good. Said Kurenai, a victorious grin arriving on her lips. Then will you please bestow upon me the honor, your majesty? Mocked Naruto. Kurenai for her part got an aristocratic look on her face as she got back on her feet. Gave Naruto a passive look, and said in clear words. Of course, my dear servant. Deadly silence prevailed in the room. A group of people numbly stood around the cold, lifeless corpse of a person whom they knew, cared about and respected. A man who had once been the army commander of the entire Reich forces, and now he was nothing but a corpse. Kakashi could hardly believe the sight of Uchiha Sasuke sleeping lifeless on the bed in front of them. His body was cold, eyes closed, face betraying nothing. It was hard to believe that just a day ago this boy had been alive and had bravely led an assault that resulted in the Reich gaining an important and much-needed strategic victory. Naruto may be the one who had ultimate control over their military forces, but Sasuke was the one who made this army. Whipped the soldiers into shape, instilled discipline and camaraderie in them. He was the one who had turned an army of soldiers from different nations into the powerful military of the strongest empire the world had ever seen. And now he is gone. The impacts of this tragedy were going to be disastrous. Not only did the Reich army lose its brave and powerful commander, but the Kaiser lost his best friend and most powerful comrade. What will I tell Naruto? Thought Kakashi, sheer terror eating at his heart. It had been a well-known fact that Naruto and Sasuke were more like brothers, which was true even from a biological point of view since Sasuke was the Kaiser's distant cousin. The resistance may have lost a Kage and nearly 25,000 soldiers, but Sasuke Uchiha's death alone had evened the score. What happens now, Supreme Commander? Asked Neji seriously. Kakashi looked around the room and saw solemn looks visible on the faces of Shino, Gaara and Neji. Even Suigetsu stood silently in a corner, his eyes cold and lips sealed shut. Does anyone else know about this? Asked Kakashi, and Gaara shook his head. Only the soldiers who came with us. They are loyal to me and have sworn to keep this a secret until I tell them not to. They are the ones who are currently looking after Itachi Uchiha. Explained Gaara sincerely. Even so, this is a tremendous loss for the Reich. If the soldiers find out that their army commander is dead, and with the Kaiser not present here, said Shino gravely, our forces might just collapse internally from fear and panic. Said Kakashi tiredly, yes. replied all the men in unison. Should we at least inform Sasuke's fiancé? Asked Suigetsu, speaking for the first time. The others turned to look at him. Niji and Shino were giving him disapproving stares. Gaara remained neutral while Kakashi had a regretful look in his eyes. The message was clear enough for Suigetsu to understand. "Fuck you guys and your secrecy, I won't be a part of this," said Suigetsu bitterly. The former Kiri shinobi turned around and started walking towards the exit, only to be stopped by Kakashi's stern command. "Suigetsu," said Kakashi icily. The boy turned around and looked his leader straight in the eye. Yeah. I won't tell this to anyone, soon." And with that reply the impulsive boy dashed out of the room, slamming the door shut with a loud bang. Kakashi sighed. "I don't like this any more than the rest of you. But until the Kaiser gets here, we need to maintain order and discipline in the army. We are still at war, and the resistance can attack us again," explained Kakashi. "You shouldn't have allowed them to take the bodies of their dead away," said Niji flatly. "That may be the practice of the resistance, not ours. Besides, in return we also received the bodies of our fallen soldiers who died in the raid led by Sasuke," scolded Gaara. "In the meantime, what should we do about Itachi? We need the information he has. I can get it out of him," said Shino coldly. "You will do no such thing." The young boys were surprised when Kakashi's stern command reached them, and the Supreme Commander gave all of them a threatening glare. "Sasuke died to get this information to us. Itachi has already agreed to cooperate, even fight for us once he's healed. I will not allow any of you to torture that man for no reason. You may blame him for Sasuke's death, but also remember that it was Sasuke's last wish to pardon his brother," pointed Kakashi. "That decision shall be taken by the Kaiser," said Niji coldly. "Yes, but until he arrives here and makes that decision, it is our duty to protect Itachi until then," said Gaara finally, ending the topic. Reluctantly, Niji and Shino agreed, making Kakashi sigh in relief. "I believe the Kaiser will be the best person to convey this sad news to Sakura and Tsunade," said Kakashi hopefully. The others nodded. "He was going to be a father," said Gaara, a lone tear falling from his eye. When he didn't receive a response, the redhead turned around to see the others staring at him in shock. Their eyes darted towards Sasuke's corpse and back to Gaara. Kakashi clenched his fists tightly, but didn't say anything. What could he say? Shino and Niji lowered their gazes. Gaara sighed. Taking a deep breath, he stepped forward and looked his comrade straight in the eye. The redhead's gaze was full of determination and courage. "We won't let Sasuke's sacrifice go in vain. I'll have him declared missing in action for the time being, and take command of the army." "Any objections?" asked Gaara frankly, although his stern gaze dared the others to even try to oppose him. Fortunately, no one did that. After all, Gaara was the next highest ranking officer after Sasuke. He was well respected by the soldiers, was a sound leader who had led the Reich armies through many successful campaigns, and most of all he was a powerful warrior. Kakashi stepped forward and gave a respectful salute to Sasuke. The others did the same. The Supreme Commander then respectfully took the Army Commander insignia from Sasuke's chest. Turning around, he saw Gaara stepping forward and the boy gave him a respectful salute. "Serve this empire with all your powers till your last breath. Bring honor to your uniform and be an inspiration to your soldiers. Congratulations, Naidame," said Kakashi proudly, and placed the insignia on Gaara's uniform. "I will," promised Gaara. His eyes turned towards Sasuke, a person whom he respected and had been a good friend of his. Sasuke had been one of the few who had accepted him right away despite Gaara being a Jinchuriki. Gaara would never forget that for his entire life. "I shall protect them just like you, this I swear to you," thought Gaara. The next moment alarms sounded across their entire camp. A single man stood alone in the empty battlefield. Standing in front of him was the gigantic Yuzu Wall, the Reich's greatest and most powerful defense structure. It was the Empire's greatest pride and safety measure. Behind it, the Reich army was currently camped and waiting for the war to start again at dawn. The light of the midnight moon shined at him, and he smirked when alarms sounded across the Reich camp. So they have already spotted me. Naruto, your army may not be as weak as I imagined. Thought the man. He was wearing a black long-sleeved top that covered his neck and chin, a pair of black gloves, a pair of dark-colored pants, a long green scarf and standard sandals and white stirrups. On his waist, he was wearing a thick black belt with armor-like metal plates attached to it, and similar plates on his upper arms. His face is well concealed by his traditional orange-colored spiral mask with a few black-colored flames additionally included now. One of his eyes sported his dark Mangekyo Sharingan, while the other had a metallic purple-colored eye sporting ringed patterns. He raised two of his fingers when the Reich turned their long-range guard lights on him. Kuchios, Geto Mazo, summoning, demonic statue of the outer path. The entire earth shook violently. A battle cry never heard since thousands of years echoed across the earth, sending fear and despair in every person's heart. The masked man smiled cruelly as the monster broke free from its restraints, and another ear-shattering scream from the beast sent powerful shock waves in every direction. It was larger than all the Biju in the world. The monster was a giant, earthen-colored humanoid entity with a decayed appearance, a body shaped into a robe, and a number of spike-like protrusions on its back. It had 9 large eyes, all of which were closed. The masked man pointed his hand forward and spoke in a cold, murderous voice. Charge, Geto Mazo. And that's it for the video. I hope you enjoyed it, and until next time. Later.